Of the Tennessee National Guard 250 for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series in what is now the 6th round of the season. Already going to be a third of the way through the regular season by the conclusion of tonight's event. And of course, my favorite racetrack, Bristol Motor Speedway, half-mile short track for this weekend's affair. Coming off the heels of last week's race at Martinsville Speedway, the paperclip, if you will, where Corey Heim was able to get the race win in the second race of the Triple Truck Challenge after getting the sweep. I should say he won the first race at Martinsville, and then he ended up winning the second race right here at Rockingham, I should say, last weekend. So trying to go 3 for 3 this weekend is Corey Heim to get that $500,000 bonus, the big talking point all week long when it comes to the Craftsman Truck Series. Nobody has ever been able to win all 3 races of the Triple Truck Challenge in the quite lengthy time period that we have had. But he's got a stacked field to go against tonight. We have a plethora of Cup Series regulars, some of which starting up at the front of the field, and some of which in pretty good equipment. That have led laps or won a race already in this Truck Series season. We've got the likes of Caden Honeycutt, who put up a very tough test to that of Corey Heim the last couple of weeks and comes in tied for the series points lead with that of Heim. It's very interesting to see how Corey Heim has done in just the 3 of 5 races he's ran this year, obviously with the 2 wins, setting himself up in the top portion of the point standings, so much so that he's actually leading in points despite the fact that he has only raced 3 races versus the 5 that have been on the schedule. He's led the most laps of anybody in the series as well with 212. He's got 3 top 5 finishes in those 3 starts, and stage points wise 47, which is third most in the Truck Series, only behind Ty Majeski and Lane Riggs. Entering tonight's race, this is going to be an interesting one. He did qualify outside the top 10. That did not stop him at Rockingham. He also qualified a little bit deeper in the field, made his way up by the end of stage 1. Still led 178 of 200 laps in that race, and now looking for another potential dominating performance today. He got the $50,000 bonus winning the first race, and he got a $100,000 bonus for winning the most recent race. So he's already $150,000 in bonuses. Richard trying to get another additional $500,000 here this evening. All he's got to do, he doesn't even have to win the race. He just has to beat the other Truck Series regulars that are eligible for the Triple Truck Challenge here tonight. So he does not have to necessarily win the race. He could finish, say, third if like a Chase Briscoe, Kyle Busch, Carson Hocevar finish 1, 2, 3, Corey Heim finishes 4th. He'll still get that bonus affair. It's not just to the race winner. So I think the odds are in his favor here tonight. He is going to have some stiff and tough competition. Lane Riggs is a former winner at Bristol in the Craftsman Truck Series. Same for Chandler Smith. There's going to be a few other heavy hitters in the field of the truck regulars who have had great performances in the past. I think Ty Majeski, great short track racer, should be very good this evening. And even Matt Crafton in the 88 truck last year ran pretty good in the spring Bristol event. I believe he finished 3rd in that 88 truck. So Majeski starting up near the front. He should be one to look out for of the truck regulars. Caden Honeycutt, obviously, as I mentioned already, although he has not won a race yet, he was very close to stealing a win from Heim in the last race at Rockingham. Took until the final couple laps of Heim trying to fend off his former ride, Caden Honeycutt. And then the week before that, he was able to steal the win from Caden Honeycutt on a late race restart in that one as well. Final lap pass for the win. So, Corey Heim trying to go 3 for 3 in the Triple Truck Challenge. We're going to be talking about that all night long. 250 laps is our scheduled distance for tonight's race. 65 laps in stage 1. We'll have another 65 laps in stage 2. And the final stage will be 250. Not 250 laps. The full race 250 laps. Final stage will be 120 laps that take us the scheduled distance. We'll go through the starting lineup in a matter of moments. I'm going to go through the point standings here first for the Craftsman Truck Series season. That will be scrolling across the top of the on the top of your screen throughout the course of tonight's race. Primarily the top 14 in points. Top 10 make the chase in the Truck Series. I want to put the first 4 who are outside looking in as well. And their deficit is going to be to the current points leaders, Corey Heim and Caden Honeycutt right now. Heim actually gained 7 positions in points with that lone win last week, but it wasn't just a win. He won and he ended up winning both stages as well. So max points day 75 for Corey Heim in that event. That vaulted him all the way up to first. Chandler Smith actually would have had a 15-point lead had he not gotten disqualified last week, so that 15-point deficit for Heim was also erased. Now Heim and Honeycutt, instead of tied for second, are tied for the lead. Lane Riggs is up to third in points now ahead of his teammate Chandler Smith, and Smith sits fourth minus 17 points. Riggs' deficit, minus 11 points to Honeycutt and Heim, minus 41 to Gio Ruggiero, back to 6th even, and only 22 points back is Ty Majeski. So while we're only 5 races into the season, we haven't seen a huge separation in that point standings yet. Still very tight amongst the top portion of the field, and this regular season championship is still very much wide open. Now 6th through 10th in points, you got Gio Ruggiero sitting in 6th, Christian Eck is 7th, Ben Rhodes 8th. Ben Rhodes has dropped back quite a few spots. Remember, he's actually tied for the points lead after the first 3 races and then fell all the way back to 8th in the standings after 2 straight DNFs, including at Darlington. It was on lap 2 he ended up crashing out of that race, and he also had an issue early last week where he didn't score a lot of stage points and got a poor finish. Stuart Friesen 9th in points, and then Justin Haley for Dodge Ram rounding out the top 10. Good season for them so far out of the gate with the new manufacturer. Tyler Ankrum is 11th in points, just on the outside looking in. Grant Enfinger, surprisingly, is in 12th, but he had a much slower start to the year. He actually did pick up 5 spots in the standings in the last race. Tanner Gray and Jake Garcia 13th and 14th in points as well. And that gap to 10th, by the way, just within 10th through 14th, is separated by only 8 points, so it's very, very tight. One stage could literally flip 14th to 10th in the point standings. Shout outs to those of you in the stream watching in the early going here. We got Joe Rochester, Marcus Villarreal, Bam Hall, Frank Powers, AJF. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. You can vote for who you think is going to win tonight's race, and per usual, that will close at the end of stage 2. I'm in a remote location for this weekend's Truck Series race stream, but we will be back in the usual studio, if I will say, my usual office space tomorrow. So I'll be back home tomorrow for both the Cup Series practice and qualifying stream, as well as Cup Series racing on Sunday. O'Reilly Series racing will also be tomorrow night. Same start time as what we have for tonight's action. So that is to look forward to. We will have diecast showings for the rest of the streams this weekend, just not this one in particular. Usually at the end of stage 2, but we'll do at the end of stage 1 and stage 2 for the next couple of races this weekend. I'll probably do one during practice and qualifying too, because why not? Pre-race interview with Caden Honeycutt from Josh Sims. Let's listen in.
Guess you processed. Should have just went to the bottom and went underneath them inside draft on the front that last lap for sure. Yeah, needed to recognize how big the run actually had. When I realized I'd taken the run to the top, I was hoping for dear life I could have got through the middle there. But yeah, it's still overall really good weekend. We had really good points. Even though we didn't win the race, it was still a really good weekend for us and us as an organization. But yeah, I think we have a really good truck tonight to see if we can get our first one and hopefully be in the winning position this time and be able to fend them all off.
We saw the tweet that you would shotgun a beer in the stands with the fans if you get that win. What's it going to take to get that done?
Man, just be up front all night, man. Just keeping 250 laps. We're going to have pit cycles and strategy is going to change, right? So if we can get out front in the first stage and try to win both those stages and come in and pit, maybe on the same cycle as everybody else, we can still be on the front row. And if not, we'll still, I think we have a good enough truck to pass them if we're off sequence or anything like that. So, yeah, it's going to take being up front all night and just capitalizing on lap traffic and getting through there is real crucial. So that's going to change up a lot. Thanks. Good luck tonight, Kevin.
All right, that was Caden Honeycutt, and that was actually prior to the pre-race ceremonies at the Bristol Motor Speedway as well. They did catch up with Corey Heim. That was a little bit earlier on the broadcast, and if they catch up with anybody else, we will obviously have a chance to look at that as well. So we will be getting set for tonight's race. Should be a fun one at the Bristol Motor Speedway. I can't wait to bring you guys all the action. Bristol's my personal favorite racetrack, has been since I was a kid. I've been there more times than any other racetrack outside of my home track at Michigan International Speedway for maybe slightly different reasons, just because Bristol's a little bit of a drive for me, about an 8-hour trip to Tennessee there, and I highly recommend it. It's definitely a NASCAR bucket list item. If you've never been, I highly recommend going. Of any even maybe non-NASCAR fan, it's one of those tracks where I'm like, if there's one particular track you should take them to, it's either a super speedway race or it's Bristol. That will get them invested in the sport very, very quickly. Action-packed, non-stop action from start to finish of every single race. And we're going to see a lot of that here today. We're going to have a lot of battles, a stacked field for the Truck Series, as mentioned already. And when we go through the starting lineup here in the next 60 seconds or so, you're going to know just who is in the field, where are they starting, and just how stacked it is. Obviously, in the chat poll, you see a couple of the Cup Series regulars that are favorites to win tonight's race. And then I threw Corey Heim in there, who isn't necessarily a truck regular because he is racing part-time this season in the Craftsman Truck Series level, but we'll see what he can do, obviously, as well. So starting on the front row in this one, we've got Caden Honeycutt and Christian Eckes beginning things off. Eckes, a former Bristol winner, and Honeycutt still looking for his first career win at the racetrack. Lane Riggs and Chase Briscoe will line up in row number 2. Riggs, another former Bristol winner, got his first career truck win at Bristol, in fact. And then Chase Briscoe, who was fastest in practice earlier, is the top qualifying of the Cup Series regulars. Jake Garcia, Ty Majeski will line up in row number 3 of this one. Majeski, another former Bristol winner. In row 4 will be Carson Hocevar and Kyle Busch, who has obviously won here in all 3 series. In fact, 8 times in Cup, 9 if you count on the dirt at Bristol. In row number 5 will be Ben Rhodes, who I mentioned was slumping as of the last couple of weeks, but a good qualifying effort earlier today. And Gio Ruggiero, who has a win on the season already at Daytona, trying to go for his second of the year today. Sorry, he did not. He won the ARCA race at Daytona, not the truck race. My bad on that one. In row number 6, Ross Chastain and Corey Heim will line up in that row. Again, Heim going for the Triple Truck Challenge tonight and going for a $500,000 bonus. In row number 7, it'll be Stuart Friesen and Justin Haley. Former Cup Series regular, of course, Justin Haley, mentioned already, he's in a chase spot entering the night. And then you got Christopher Bell, another Cup Series regular, current though for him. He'll be in the Friesen Hallmark number 62 truck. And Chandler Smith, who was the points leader of the first 4 races of the season, he has now fallen back to 4th after the disqualification last week at the Rock. Colt Butcher, Grant Edfinger will line up in row number 9, and then row 10 will be Corey LaJoie and Tyler Ankrum. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., another Cup regular in the field today. He'll be on the inside of row 11 alongside Tanner Gray. Daniel Hemrick and Tyler Wright will be in row number 12. Row 13 for Chris Wright and Minnie Tyrell. Andres Perez, Brendan Queen will start deeper in the field in row 14. Behind them, row 15 will be Carson Ferguson making his Truck Series debut, and Luke Baldwin in the number 2. Frankie Muniz and Clayton Green will be in row 16. Row 17, Spencer Boyd and Dawson Sutton. Rounding out the field will be Timmy Hill and Daniel Suarez piloting the number 71 for Spire Motorsports. Row 18, 36 truck field. And again, that is your starting lineup for tonight's race. All right, be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more NASCAR content. We are live every NASCAR race weekend for Truck, O'Reilly, Cup Series racing, as well as Cup practice and qualifying. Our first of 4 streams on this Bristol race weekend. All 3 series are in action beginning here tonight. Friday through Sunday will be live this weekend. A doubleheader tomorrow beginning at 4:30 p.m. Eastern with Cup practice and qualifying. That will be on Prime Video and obviously live full coverage here for both the practice session in full and the qualifying session all in one stream. The O'Reilly Series race will be on a different stream about an hour after the finish of that at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. And then on Sunday, the main event for this weekend, the Food City 500 for the Cup Series, and that will begin at 2:30 p.m. Eastern right here on the channel. So those are your start times. You can look at the community tab for the start times for all the streams this weekend. I will obviously repeat that at the end of the night as well. Maybe various moments if we get some peak viewership throughout the course of the stream. Also wondering exactly when I'm going to go live next. Steve J, welcome to the stream. Another week. It is not just any other week, though. Again, it is Bristol, baby. And I'm excited for it. Bristol. Yeah. Bristol, baby. I'm ready. This is going to be some fun. 250 laps worth of fun. Truck and O'Reilly races here, very short. 500 laps at Bristol can be done in 3 hours or less very quickly. We've actually seen a couple of the next-gen races time in less than 2.5 hours for the Cup Series at Bristol because of not as many cautions. Both those races Kyle Larson dominated between the summer race of 2024 and the spring race this season. Larson doing double duty this weekend. He'll actually be in the O'Reilly race tomorrow. Much more Cup regulars in the field for the truck race tonight, but we will see a couple more tomorrow, and not all of which are running all 3 series this weekend. I'm excited for this. Always excited to see some cars on the track at the world's fastest half mile. I got my iced coffee in me. Not all the way yet. If I'm stumbling on my speech a little bit, it is because I'm a bit tired. I did work earlier today. These Fridays are a long day for me between getting everything prepared for the streams for the weekend, having a full work shift in the midst of all that. Now here live with you guys. But like I said, I'm excited. Once this race gets underway, I'm sure I'm going to wake up real quick. If I was at the track, that'd definitely be the case. The noise alone. They call it Thunder Alley for a reason. Thunder Valley, sorry, not Thunder Alley. See, that's what I mean. I'm a little bit on the tired side. But not only committed to doing the stream, but just committed and excited to watch some good racing here tonight. Truck Series at Bristol's put on some pretty good shows the last couple of seasons. It's been one of the better races of the weekend. The Cup Series races when we've had the extreme tire fall off like we did last summer and a couple springs ago in 2024 that have put on some good shows as well. But the Truck Series, I think the most consistent of the top three when it comes to high quality racing at this high banked half mile short track. Drop of the green flag should be very, very soon. And for some late breaking updates prior to the drop of the green, here is the Fox Sports 1 crew.
Cup Series regulars in the field tonight. Josh?
Well, Caitlin, one of those truck guys in the field, or those cup guys, that is Christopher Bell, making his second start of the season in that 62 truck. And I talked to him earlier today, and he said during the off week, when the cup guys were off, he stayed back, didn't go on vacation, had a chance to study the truck race, and was in constant contact with his teammate tonight, Stuart Friesendale, be all in on helping this team get better. Well, they weren't as good as he expected in practice, qualified 15, but remember, he's won here in the O'Reilly Series, he's won here in the Cup Series last fall, looking to add a truck win here tonight, Jamie.
Thank you, Josh. All right, Austin, how about our Craftsman track description?
Well, the best way I describe this track is the best piece of concrete in all of the state of Tennessee.
That's great. That's a great description of Bristol, Austin.
Let's go for a couple 150 laps. What do you say, Austin? We've got a couple of stages, 65 laps in length each, 120 to the checker. We don't care about the fuel window. We're going to just race these boys toe-to-toe with fresh tires at the end of that second stage, I predict.
Well, we've all mentioned what a beautiful day, what a beautiful evening it is. About 70 degrees. It's supposed to drop just a couple of degrees by the end of this thing, guys, but it is beautiful all weekend long. Love to be here. Love what you said, Austin.
Yeah, 70 degrees, very warm at Bristol this time of the year. It's very hit or miss with the spring date, but when you put the lights on in early April like this, you're not always expected to have higher temperatures above 60 degrees like this, but we have that for here today, and it's clear skies as well. No weather will be in effect as far as rainfall or anything of that nature. Should be a clean and green race. And we are underway. Caden Honeycutt leads us, and we are racing in the Tennessee Army National Guard 250 at Bristol. Friday night under the lights. Caden Honeycutt from the pole going to lead the opening lap of this event. Christian Eckes was able to slide in second place directly behind him and putting heavy pressure in laps 2 and 3, primarily in turns 1 and 2. Really getting into the corner on that end of the racetrack much better than what he is in 3 and 4. And Honeycutt's truck seems to be sliding around from underneath him a bit. Bottom feeder racetrack is Bristol, especially in the beginning run. The groove is going to widen out over the course of a longer green flag run. And by the end of this one, you're going to be seeing multiple grooves. More so in the O'Reilly race tomorrow and the Cup race on Sunday, depending on how the tire fall off may be. Only because the way the concrete surface allows for the groove to have to slowly widen out over the course of the run, it's going to take some laps to do that. And 250 of them is not a lot at Bristol, especially when you also consider the only on-track activity we've seen so far this weekend is trucks for practice and qualifying. No other cars have been on the track. O'Reilly and Cup Series practice and qualifying will be tomorrow, so even by the start of that O'Reilly race, the groove should be somewhat widened out. And you may see drivers up around the very top of the racetrack more so than the middle or bottom grooves, and that's going to become the preferred line at some point. I don't know if that will be the preferred line tonight, even though we should see that groove widen out at least some bit. 65 laps in this opening stage here is going to fly by quickly. You can get 4 laps in barely over a minute. Last lap by the race leader, Christian Eckes, was a 15.636. He took the race lead away from Honeycutt after the first couple of laps of the race that were led by the 11 truck. So now the 91's out in front. Chase Briscoe sits in the 3rd place position, and then 4th is Lane Riggs. Early start as these drivers still trying to settle in. Chandler Smith almost getting kind of pinched up into that outside lane. Left a little bit too much of the bottom open. Could have gotten freight train. Very easy to have that happen early in the race with no grip up high. Chase Briscoe gave up a spot in the top 3 positions. Lane Riggs is up to 3rd. And because Briscoe's still stuck on the outside, it allows for Jake Garcia to get in there as well. And now Kyle Busch in the 7. Carson Hocevar, sorry, the 77. Had the wrong Spire truck. Looking to the inside of Chase Briscoe. Briscoe's only got a couple of career top 10s in the Cup Series here, so this Truck Series event where he doesn't have a lot of experience, I shouldn't say experience, but recent experience in trucks. He's been in the Cup Series full-time now for a handful of years, and we haven't really seen him run trucks hardly at all. At least with the likes of Carson Hocevar, he's actually made a few starts already this season, and even the last couple of years with running full-time in Cup, we've seen Hocevar use up every bit of those 7 starts, and now he can have up to 9 in the Truck and O'Reilly Series with the expansion to that rule book during the off-season where the Cup Series regulars can actually run more races in both the Truck and O'Reilly Series events. Patty at Rumdy Creations, Wayne Martin, thanks for tuning in. Wayne Martin taking Christopher Bell. Trucks at Bristol. Yes, it is. It's not just any racing at Bristol, but under the lights just feels different. Good vibes all around. 15 laps complete already. That didn't take long. About 50 more to go yet in stage 1. Ty Majeski up on the outside of the racetrack, getting passed in the top 10 by Ross Chastain, while we have a spinner on the racetrack off of turn number 4, I believe, as Andres Perez in the 44 truck has gone around. Looks like he's got a donut on the right side number and door of his race truck, so he definitely had some contact with somebody. I would imagine he probably overdrove the corner on the inside, made contact with the truck to his outside, and then ended up losing it. He had contact with the 81. I believe that is Chris Wright. Check just to make sure on that. Yeah, Chris Wright in the 81. And he was trying to make a pass for position. It looked like he actually had his nose out in front of him. It was a quick cutaway on the replay itself, so it's kind of hard to tell exactly how fast he barreled it off in there. Plus, it was slow motion, too. So I'm not sure if he washed up into him or if he was getting pinched off, but either way, slight bit of contact in turns 3 and 4, and around goes Andres Perez. Battle was pretty deep in the field, considering Chris Wright's currently in 27th, and Perez obviously now at the tail end of the pack because of the spin. He'll be coming to pit road. Maybe put on a new set of tires and get off and away. Very minimal damage for him. Amazing the raw feed works. Yes. Yeah, raw feed is working this week. It was down last week for both the O'Reilly and Truck Series races at Rockingham. Remember, the Cup Series has been off for a couple of weeks. So many of you maybe weren't tuned in at all last week. Or maybe even knew at all that there was any NASCAR racing going on Easter weekend, as it was a standalone event for both the Truck and O'Reilly Series at Rockingham again. Cup Series does not have a race date there, but second consecutive year that we've seen the Trucks and O'Reilly Series return. All right. So 15 laps completed. Caution comes out for the first time after a spin for Chris Wright and a slight bit of contact, or sorry, spin for Andres Perez after a slight bit of contact with Chris Wright. 16 laps were led by current race leader Christian Eckes, a couple of which obviously now under caution. First 2 laps of the race were led by the pole sitter Caden Honeycutt. He is in second after losing the lead on lap 3. Carson Hocevar up a couple spots to get up inside the top 5. He just got by Briscoe right before the yellow. We haven't seen a lot of tire fall off at Bristol across all 3. Well, I shouldn't say the Cup Series. The Cup Series has either had way too much or no fall off at all at Bristol Motor Speedway. And as far as the O'Reilly and Truck Series races go, we haven't seen a ton of tire fall off. So if you're good on the short run, good chance you'll be good on the long run as well. Very similar to Rockingham last week as far as the tire wear or the lack thereof when it comes to the Truck and O'Reilly races more than likely this weekend. So could see some 2-tire stops in stage 3 in a 120-lap stage. You could see drivers just staying out on old tires even in a late race caution situation. Best lap for Eckes was actually on lap 12. Believe it or not, Caden Honeycutt lap 13 put together his fastest lap. And the fastest lap of the race overall was ran by Eckes as well, 15.539, again on lap 12. A few laps before the caution. And with the yellow at lap 15, definitely not going to see anybody hitting pit road with this caution. Limited set of tires for the Truck and O'Reilly Series anyway. You probably wouldn't see them pit on most tracks in this caution flag situation, but definitely not here. The concrete surface, it just doesn't allow for as much tire wear as what we see on asphalt. It's just very weird how the concrete takes the rubber and the groove widens up, but it doesn't necessarily eat it away from the tires in a way that the tires are falling off over the course of a run like they would on a typical asphalt racetrack. And we had concrete corners at Martinsville a couple weeks ago, but a little bit different with the flatter corners, heavy braking, allows for a bit more tire wear than what the banked ovals like Dover and Bristol do that are all concrete. Should be going green this time by. Lights are out on the pace truck. Eckes Alexi outside of row number 1. For the restart, Caden Honeycutt was on the outside, got the good launch, led for a couple laps, and Eckes was able to take the lead. Launches middle of the restart zone, green flag back in the air. Honeycutt stumbles on the restart a bit, and Lane Riggs quickly gets to his outside. A bit of a logjam on the bottom lane behind Honeycutt as they work their way through turns 1 and 2. Riggs will win the short-fought battle for second. Honeycutt trying to hang on for third. Chase Briscoe trying to make a power move on the outside. He got stuck up on the top for too long on the first initial start and went from 3rd place all the way back to 6th. So now he's back fighting for 3rd again. But if he can't get back to the bottom here after a couple laps, he could be fading backwards in a hurry for the 2nd time. Honeycutt doing everything he can to drive it in deep. Still beat that 5 truck back to the gas. There's just no grip up high yet. Briscoe loses that spot, maybe washes a little bit too far wide through 3 and 4 again, and quickly Garcia's underneath him looking for 4th. Honeycutt clear, and not just clear by a little bit. About a lap after making that pass for position, he was quickly 3 to 4 truck lengths ahead, which is very fast how quickly he was able to pull that gap on a half-mile short track like this. 1 corner to the next is only a quarter-mile difference. So 4 truck lengths to be clear by is quite significant. Showing the middle of the pack, a lot of double wide and 3 wide battling going on. That first lap or 2. Everybody evades through it though, and nobody gets spun around this time. Though that was a decent amount of laps into the run the last go around. Spawn 1771, thanks for tuning in. 32 likes on the stream already. Thank you, everybody, for hitting the like button. Our like goal is to get to 50 likes for tonight's stream. So we'll see if we can get there. Pretty easy goal to start the weekend. 7 truck of Kyle Busch trying to work his way forward. He's actually backwards a few positions from where he started, now in 10th. Ross Chastain just made a pass on him, and Briscoe did get stuck on the outside for too long again. And from 3rd place on the restart falls to 8th. He was able to get back down to the bottom, though, with Kyle Busch and Chastain battling side by side behind him. Corey Heim in the 1 truck trying to go for that triple truck challenge is yet to break into the top 10 today, struggling in the early going of the race. Qualified 12th, he's only up 1 position to 11. Long ways to go, and obviously a few pit stops to try to make some adjustments along the way. Truck just not looking good in traffic. We've seen some trucks make passes for position already back there, but not many. Each of the top 6 in the running order have ran their fastest laps after the restart from the first caution. Obviously the same set of tires that they would have started the race with and had that heat cycle. Eckes' fastest lap now in lap 26. As recent as lap 30, just 5 laps ago, Ben Rhodes in 5th place put together his fastest lap. Started the race in 9th, he's up 4 spots. Restart was in 8th, so he's up 3 just in the last dozen laps or so alone. Lane Riggs making a pass on Caden Honeycutt in the last few laps as well to move into 2nd place. He's 1 second out of the race lead. Last lap, Eckes was still faster than Riggs. Eckes still has the fastest lap of the day of a 15.429 on lap 26. That was faster than his previous fastest lap at lap 12. Lane Riggs also running some 15.4. Same for Caden Honeycutt. I think a lot of that is the track temp is dropping. Even if it's 20 minutes or so since the drop of the green flag. Well, we'll look up at it now. 14 and a half minutes since the drop of the green flag to start this race. But because it is getting darker and it's getting more into the actual full nighttime skies, the pace is going to quicken. Eckes trying to move some lap traffic up out of the way, put the bumper to 1 truck that was holding him up a bit through turns 3 and 4 on that last lap. Lane Riggs has cut the deficit down to just a truck length or so. Now another truck parked on the bottom, the 22, right in front of that 91 of Eckes. And Lane Riggs is all over the back bumper for the race lead. And he's got plenty of time to try to make this pass for position. Eckes struggling. Those first 2 lap trucks just parked on the bottom lane right in front of him, not going up out of the groove, or Eckes not wanting to try to go to the top to make a pass. Risk washing up out of the groove potentially if there isn't enough grip up there. Especially considering he hasn't ran in that lane yet. Some slight bumps for Eckes to the back of the lappers. Once he got free of those first 2 trucks, he's had nothing but clean air in front of him over the last 3 to 4 laps. And it's probably going to be another few laps before he catches the next lap truck in front of him. And the hope is that he has a much easier time trying to make his way by and continue to try to hold on. Fox Sports 1 on a side-by-side commercial break, and during that said commercial break, the graphic shows the final lap of stage 1. It is not the final lap. We still have 20 to go in this first stage. Top 5 in the running order holds with Christian Eckes in the lead, Lane Riggs in 2nd, Caden Honeycutt 3rd, Jake Garcia 4th, and Ben Rhodes in the 5th place position. Taking another look at our chat poll, 35 votes have been casted for who you think is going to win tonight's race. 49% taking Kyle Busch for the win. Heim at 20%, other at 20%, which would be somebody other than Bell, Heim, or Busch. And Christopher Bell at 11% of the votes. Kyle Busch, the all-time winningest driver in the Truck Series, and obviously great at Bristol. I can see why you picked him. He does have one truck win of the year already at Atlanta as well. Him and Hocevar actually finished 1-2 in that race as Spire Motorsport teammates. But this is not a drafting oval, and they struggled at Rockingham. They meaning Spire Motorsports. Kyle Busch was not in that race. Carson Hocevar was last week, and they had some electrical issues throughout the course of that one where the truck kept kind of shutting off on him and certain points. Eventually ended up pulling into the garage for a terminal failure and sidelined Carson Hocevar for the rest of the race. Looking better this weekend because before those issues really happened, I don't think Hocevar ever broke into the top 10 at Rockingham. He qualified mid-pack and just kind of stayed there. Didn't depart from the race until stage 3. Those gremlins started right at the end of stage 1. It only kept progressively getting worse. So Christian Eckes, who's in the top 10 in the point standings, trying to hold on for the stage 1 win ahead of Lane Riggs. Starting to back up a few extra trucks in traffic. The top 5 all within a second of the race lead, as Eckes has really struggled to get through some of this lap traffic. Lane Riggs being an aggressive race car driver. If he can get to the back bumper, may try to move Eckes, even if it's just for a stage win. Every point matters. Lane Riggs comes into this one only 11 points out of the points lead in third in the standings, so these 10 points could be crucial for him. Especially considering that both Corey Heim and Chandler Smith are outside the top 10. He might get almost all of those 11 points back in one stage. I'm sitting in 11th right now, and his teammate Chandler Smith is nowhere to be found inside the top 15. Riggs trying to go up to the outside of the racetrack looking for something different. He lost a lot of ground. There's just not enough grip up there, so he moves back down onto the bottom, but lost about 2 to 3 truck lengths of a gap to the leader. He had enough spacing behind him that he was able to do that without losing too much ground for Caden Honeycutt to get underneath him. A bit of a risky move, though. If he would have had a slight bobble up there, it could have been in danger of losing a few spots, knowing that although it was enough of a gap to try that, not have a big loose moment or anything of that nature, washing him up out of the groove so much so that he loses too much time, but Thomas still lost nevertheless. Riggs getting some of that back. I do believe that 34 truck is better than the 91 right now. Ben Rhodes looking pretty good as he makes a pass on his teammate Jake Garcia for 4th place on the racetrack. We'll see if he can hold on to it. 6 laps to go in stage 1. Caden Honeycutt trying to go to the outside of the 34 of Lane Riggs, but a lap truck may get in his way in that outer lane. Honeycutt moves up almost a little too far wide, and that was a very close call for Ben Rhodes, who was in the middle of 3 wide, and now Rhodes is picked behind the lap truck, which is Frankie Muniz in the 33, and Garcia is able to cross him back over to get into 4th again. A lot of moving chicanes at Bristol Motor Speedway here tonight. Lap traffic is not doing any favors for these leaders, and now Garcia has a slip up, and he's going to give the spot right back up to Ben Rhodes again, so back at 4th go the 99 and 98 for that 4th spot. Trading that position over 2 consecutive laps. Just a couple laps before that when Rhodes got it the first time. 2 laps to go stage 1 now for Eckes. He's still got about a 3 to 4 truck length lead. And about 2 truck lengths behind Riggs is Honeycutt in 3rd. Honeycutt has the most stage points of any driver so far this season. Tied for the points lead this year as a result of which, despite not breaking into the win column. Consistent all race long, and here he is, another pole and another top 3 points paying effort in a stage. Green, white, checkered flag in the air for the final time. Riggs not going to be able to get back to the 91. He had a couple of opportunities through lap traffic, but with no lap trucks in front of Eckes, he's strong enough to hold on for the stage 1 win. Lane Riggs in second, Caden Honeycutt third, Ben Rhodes fourth, and Jake Garcia rounds out the top 5 in fifth. Then Carson Hocevar in sixth, Gio Ruggiero seventh, Chase Briscoe eighth, Ross Chastain ninth, and Kyle Busch will round out the top 10 in stage 1. All right, so stage 1 in the books. Those points awarded, 1 point per position, 10 for first, all the way down to 10th place getting 1 point. Obviously, the Cup regular is not going to get points for themselves for the driver standings, but as far as the owner standings go, the trucks that will be running full-time will receive points. Cup regulars in the top 10, we had 4 of them, Hocevar, Briscoe, Chastain, and Kyle Busch. Chandler Smith, 14th in stage 1, despite his teammate Lane Riggs being in second. Daniel Suarez started dead last on the field. He worked his way up to 26th, and he was on the lead lap at the end of the first stage. Free pass for being the first truck a lap down was Frankie Muniz in 31st. So Frankie will be back on the lead lap. The spin from Andres Perez, he did go a lap down because of that, but he is still on the racetrack, and Chris Wright had gone a second lap down during that next green flag run, which was just over 35 laps and took us to the end of the first stage. So this is our second caution. We had that one spin on lap 15. One lead change with Eckes taking the lead on lap 3 and holding on for the final 62 laps of stage 1. Should be seeing some pit stops coming up here. I could see a possibility that this could be a one-stop race today. With not as much tire fall off, for fuel purposes, they would only have to pit one time. 250 lap race, but it's only a half-mile short track, so easily you could split this up and pit towards the end of stage 2, or even a late caution in stage 2 and make it to the end. Just with little tire fall off, how many laps is too many on your tires? That's the one thing that when we get into stage 3, we're going to have to find out. If we get a caution at any point in time, if you have 60 laps on your tires, is it enough to still hold on and stay out? And obviously, if you have a decent amount of trucks that stay out with you, that's going to be better for you if you're at the front of that. But if there's only a couple trucks that stay out and the rest of the field pits, 50, 60, maybe even 100 laps on tires, it's going to be quite the risk. And I'm willing to see who's going to take that gamble if it comes down to it. Malcolm in the back.
Here at Bristol, but what a celebrated racer. Of course, he was in Rams Race for the Seat, finished second, and he had a big win at South Boston Speedway. There it was. It was neck and neck between him and Minnie Tyrell. You can see that series, by the way, airing on FS1. Glad to have him with us here tonight. He'll also make a start at Martinsville later in the season. But Austin Cindric, you actually know this guy. You go way back.
I think every driver, no matter the level, whether if you're 9 or 10 years old racing Bandoleros or racing in the Cup Series, there's always that guy that is the benchmark, is the goal. And that was Carson. Carson kicked my butt a lot of times. I think he just won the track championship at Concord, but Carson was always a good friend. My mom always let him eat out of our cooler, so if that's the case, he's all right in my book. So it's very cool to have him here tonight.
And the thing is, the same words from Stephen Parsons. Stephen talked about the fact that was a Bando or a Legends car. Carson
He was the man.
Was the man, and
Absolutely.
isn't it cool? The race for the seat with Ram, that they're getting this opportunity to get in the Truck Series and go show what they got.
No, well done by that whole program to recognize all those drivers, but cool for them to find Carson, give him a shot tonight. Talk about jumping in the deep end, though. Your first National Series race, going to Bristol, first time racing a truck. He'd never even driven one before tonight, so it was cool to catch up with him today, and looking forward to seeing him run all the laps tonight. Learn a lot.
How was your Bristol debut? Did it go well?
No.
Okay.
We'll leave that for another time. Thanks for the teaser.
Austin started out in the Truck Series way back when. You were in high school, Austin.
We've seen varying strategy recently. I'm curious as to what will happen here at the end of this first stage. I don't think our leaders will pit. I said earlier, Austin, how late in the run their fastest lap came. That means the tires aren't going up much.
Let's take a look at our Poet Fuel strategy, sponsored by Zero Carbon Bioethanol. Michael, what do you think?
One time the winner has stopped. One stop for the winner in the last 5 6 races, and that's what I'm really looking at here. I think that's what we're going to see tonight. I think these guys up front for sure will stay out.
We had Carson Hocevar and several others come in.
Quite a few takers. It was a mixed bag talking to crew chiefs today. If they stay out till the end of stage 2, or if you come in now, work on those trucks. We heard drivers complaining about how tight they all were. Ty Majeski, he was one of them, guys. Sides, the front stretch and the back stretch. Corey Heim opted to come in as well. Didn't move forward much. He's trying.
He or Kyle Busch, either one, and you see they're both on pit road. Must have wanted a tire pressure, some sort of adjustment on those trucks, because we expected them to race right up into the top 10. It didn't happen.
So 11 trucks decided to stay out, including Christian Eckes, Lane Riggs.
I think a minute here than we would have expected, which probably tells us that guys feel like there's more potential in their trucks if they go work on them.
We'll see how this strategy shakes out. New tires versus old tires. Stage number 2 is coming up next.
All right, so almost the full stage on older tires. We had technically 13 laps of caution when you count the caution laps during the current stage break we're on right now, and then that yellow flag earlier. So I think the stage cautions already lasted longer than what the spin for Andres Perez had lasted by way of caution laps. So 55 plus laps of green flag action on the tires for those who stayed out, kept track position, or maybe deeper in the field that stayed out looking to gain more track position. I wouldn't want to be of the last group of trucks, though, on those older tires to those on fresh. That one will probably not end very well. Yet to see exactly who all stayed out and what the top portion of the leaderboard is going to look like. As we're at the end of stage 1, we're going to take our first break of tonight's stream. You're listening live to the Tennessee Army National Guard 250 at Bristol. All right. 31 trucks on the lead lap as we begin stage 2. 75 laps down out of 250, half hour into tonight's race. Another 65 laps for stage number 2. Just as we had for stage 1, final stage will be 120 laps for this evening. All right, of the trucks that hit pit road, it looks like Ty Majeski in 12th place will be the first of which on 4 fresh tires. And then everybody in the top 11 stayed out. So Christian Eckes will be the leader on the restart, Lane Riggs second, Caden Honeycutt third, Ben Rhodes in fourth, Jake Garcia fifth, Gio Ruggiero sixth, Chase Briscoe seventh, Justin Haley eighth, Chandler Smith ninth, Tanner Gray 10th, and Timmy Hill 11th, Ty Majeski 12th.
The West Coast is Alex Palou. Joseph Newgarden, the stars of IndyCar, take on the streets of Long Beach. The road to the Indy 500 continues April 19th, only on Fox.
What a storied IndyCar race Long Beach is. Such a great event. What an amazing event.
Great place to be, but not a great place for Grant Enfinger. Just spent quite a bit of time on pit road, and you called it, Austin. You said, is it a battery deal? They were working on the left rear, and they said it was a voltage problem. So he's now gone 4 laps down.
Wow.
It's possible from 4 seconds mistakes.
Okay, but meanwhile, Frankie Muniz got the free pass, so back on the lead lap for Malcolm in the middle star. And Caden Honeycutt, let's listen to his radio.
How about that plan here? Yeah, managing it, but track the yeah. Outside the camp.
Well, there you have it. Laying out their strategy. As you see, choosing it up.
So Lane Riggs on the inside. Christian Eckes picks the outside again. It worked out pretty well for him last time.
Lane Riggs has got a fast truck. He's been right there contending.
You know, if I'm one of these front runners here, I'd be looking to see if Caden Honeycutt struggles loose like he has for the first two fire offs. Obviously, they have a lot more laps on the tires, but that's been a common theme here for those guys. Maybe that's crew chief. You know, that audio we heard, crew chief talking a little confidence into his driver to stay disciplined, stay to the plan. They made me think these tire cycles are going to keep tightening them up.
Gio Ruggiero there in the 5th place down on the bottom. Good run early for him. Where are we going, Jamie?
Well, we're about ready to go, Brain. Wave that green flag at stage number 2 as the drivers approach the Echo Park Automotive Restart Zone at 20
Right, green flag back in the air. Christian Eckes gets a good jump, quickly pulls to the bottom end of the first turn on Lane Riggs, who stays on the bottom lane and is going to be cleared for himself in the 2nd place position also. Back around 12th place, Ty Majeski trying to make some moves on the high side of the racetrack on those fresher tires. And we'll see how quickly he can maybe try to get to the front of the field. I'll monitor the lap times for the front runners and see what kind of laps they're running to those in traffic. Obviously, Majeski, because he's passing trucks, not going to be quite as quick lap time-wise until he breaks into a little bit of clean traffic. It's already trying to get by, it looks like, Chase Briscoe for 7th place. Majeski restarted 12th, so he's already up 5 positions. And he does take that spot away. Nope, never mind. Had a slip up on the high side through turns 1 and 2, and Briscoe's actually going to get clear of him. Lane Riggs not trying to go as wide as what he was towards the end of stage 1 when he was looking to work the outside lane. Kind of drove to the middle groove of the racetrack through turns 3 and 4. Down around the bottom in 1 and 2 in the wake of the dirty air of our leader Eckes, though. Got to his back bumper because of lap traffic in stage 1, but never really had a shot. Same tires, so no adjustments were made on the front runners, and I think you're going to see more of the same of Lane Riggs putting heavy pressure on Eckes, and if he could stay close to him, getting into lap traffic and not let the 91 pull away and then play catch up in lap traffic, might have a better opportunity to maybe pounce and take his first lead of the night. Majeski got stuck on the outside for too long, trying to be too aggressive, making passes up there. Not only he wasn't able to hold on to the outside lane to get the 7th place on Briscoe, but also Chandler Smith moves into 8th also. And Smith was of the 11 drivers who had stayed out of the pits and picked up track position. He was 14th at the end of stage 1. So kind of a dire situation to get any kind of extra spots he could. Even though it was only 6 of them, he'll take it, and we'll see how long he can hold on for. Majeski's still the highest in the running order of those that did hit pit road during the caution in the 9th place position. And doesn't really seem to be gaining much more ground. And actually, Corey Heim in the 1 truck just behind him, who is the 2nd highest in the running order on the fresh tires, is putting some pressure on Majeski in the middle of the top 10. Carson Hocevar in the 77, also right there tightly behind Heim. So Heim in 10th place. That's as high as he's been here tonight as he tries to go for the $500,000 bonus in the Triple Truck Challenge. Christian Eckes dominating the laps led side of things, but Lane Riggs has been just as fast, if not faster. He's just been stuck behind the 91 with an inability to try to make the pass for the lead thus far. 91 completed laps out of 250. 18 of which under caution and 2 yellows so far. 1 for incident, and then the lap 65 stage 1 end. 36.5 minutes into the race. We are flying at Bristol. Eckes has stretched his lead out to about 4 or 5 truck lengths. That's quite a big lead over Riggs. He hasn't really had anything more than a half a second this entire race. Minus when Riggs wasn't the 2nd place truck and Honeycutt was for a short bit in the early going. That lead was just over a second. Once Riggs got the 2nd, he was getting through lap traffic better than Eckes and cut into that lead quickly. Big bobble. Like for the 2 truck in front of the 25, a little deeper in the field. Those trucks are not going to be handling very well at the back, and that also kind of makes it hard for them to want to go to that middle to upper groove. They could be in danger of just wiping out, going above where they feel there is the most grip, which is down around the bottom. About as glued to that yellow line as you possibly could be, wrapping it all the way around the corners. Seeing the two wiggle so much. The outboard cam right in front of Ferguson in the 25. He's got a little bit of damage around the left rear corner panel of his race truck as well. That doesn't help. And actually, it looks like there's a bit of a tire rub on that left rear tire, so hopefully he can have some good fortune and doesn't get a flat or anything like that. Keep this race under green. So in turns 3 and 4, Riggs still trying to get a little bit of clean air on the nose, try that middle to upper groove, maybe get a straighter exit, use a bit of that high 33 degrees of banking that the Bristol Motor Speedway has to offer to try to get the run down these relatively flat straightaways, especially by way of how banked these corners are at this track. Just doing anything he possibly can to get that much little bit of extra speed, get some ground gain on the 91. 91's having the same dirty air problem now that he's catching some lap trucks at the back of the field, and he struggled in stage 1. We'll see if Eck has learned anything to try to make some passes better for stage 2. Well, instead of just waiting around the bottom, he's just going to try to strike to the outside on the 33 of Frankie Muniz first. And he does have enough room to put Muniz a lap down. Riggs has been rolling the top side of the racetrack pretty consistently, though, and he is better than the 91 truck in that middle to upper groove, and he got into the back of him off turn 2. Now trying to slip to the right rear corner panel off the exit of turn 4, and a huge block by Eckes to try to hold on to that track position. Riggs shifts it down into turns 1 and 2, trying to get to that rear bumper, maybe loosen up Eckes, but winning the race back to the throttle was Eckes, and now he looks to the middle to upper groove of the racetrack, maybe overdrove it a bit. Riggs slides to the inside, but can't hold it off the exit of the corner. Now gets into the back of Eckes in 1 and 2, but all he does is push him forward, and Eckes pulls out to another 2 truck length lead again. Battle was short-lived for the lead. Ben Rhodes, meanwhile, up to 3rd as Caden Honeycutt slips back over 2nd out of the lead in 4th, and Rhodes looking very fast. Last lap was about 0.2 faster than the leader, and 1/10 faster than Riggs. Did not realize they were going to cut the commercial that quickly. My bad on that one. Christian Eckes leads 105 laps complete out of 250. We'll go through the full field running order for the first time tonight. Christian Eckes is still the race leader. He's led all but 2 laps. Lane Riggs in 2nd, Ben Rhodes 3rd, Caden Honeycutt 4th, and Gio Ruggiero rounds out the top 5 and 5th. Jake Garcia is 6th, Chase Briscoe 7th, Chandler Smith 8th, 9th is Ty Majeski, Corey Hyman 10th. 11th is Carson Hocevar, Ross Chastain in 12th, Justin Haley 13th, Tyler Ankrum 14th, and 15th is Tanner Gray. Christopher Bell in 16th, Daniel Hemrick 17th, Kyle Busch 18th, Dawson Sutton 19th, and Tyler Wright 20th. Timmy Hill in 21st, Brendan Queen 22nd, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 23rd, Daniel Suarez 24th, Cole Butcher in 25th, Minnie Tyrell 26th, Corey LaJoy 27th, Stuart Friesen 28th, Luke Baldwin 29th, and 30th, Frankie Muniz first truck a lap down. Andres Perez in 31st, Carson Ferguson 32nd, Spencer Boyd 33rd, Chris Wright 34th. Grant Enfinger, as mentioned during the stage break, had a battery change, so he's now 5 laps down, it looks like, in that 35th place spot. Clayton Green 36th, 9 laps down, I believe is on track still, and he is last in the running order. So that is the full field rundown. We'll take another break here as we're middle of stage 2, a little bit past halfway in the second stage. You're listening live on KRC to our full flag-to-flag coverage of tonight's truck race under the lights at the world's fastest half mile. Austin Sullivan, thanks for tuning in. Remember when they had dirt on Bristol? I sure do. Yeah, it wasn't that long ago. I was actually at one of the dirt Bristol races. I was at the one that Briscoe got into Reddick on the final lap in the final turn, and Kyle Busch actually won. I've seen Kyle Busch win in the NASCAR Cup Series 3 times in person, and all 3 times it was by way of shenanigans or any kind of, say, luck, because he was in the right place at the right time. You got to put yourself there. But he definitely had some good fortune falling into a couple of those wins. I was there for his RCR Talladega win in 2023, where Bubba Wallace and Ryan Blaney got together in front of him. They had a crash on the final lap, and Busch sneaks by, leads only the final lap under caution to win the race. I saw him win a fuel mileage race at Pocono back in 2021. He won the second race of the doubleheader that weekend. And had I think it was Hamlin and Byron were running in front of him in the final 2 to 3 laps, and they ran out of gas, and Busch was able to make it and win. And then I also saw Kyle Busch win at, where else did I see him win? Trying to think. There's another cup race I know I've seen him win in person. And it was another one where I was like, yeah, you probably shouldn't have won that race. Oh, big loose moment for the 25 of Ferguson. And his debut in the Truck Series, getting ran over by the leaders. And now trying to stay up out of the way of the top 4 as 2 of those trucks racing side by side for second, Lane Riggs and Ben Rhodes. Rhodes with a daring move up the middle between the lap truck and Riggs a couple laps ago, and still stays to the outside of that 34 truck, looking for anything possible to get the run off the exit of the corner, try to get clear of the 34, and move on into second. As they run side by side, it has slowed them down enough that Christian Eckes was able to pull out to a little over half a second lead. So he's got some breathing room. Rhodes wraps the outside of the racetrack beautifully on both ends of the racetrack, and he's clear for second, and a caution is out for the second time today. 42's around.
Tyler Wright in the 42 truck.
Big damage.
Oh no.
Frankie. Malcolm in the middle is crushed.
That's the reaction he probably has inside the truck, just eyes wide open.
Life still isn't fair, I think is what they call that reboot. Frankie had just gone a second lap down.
He's doing a nice job. Had good pace, did Frankie, until it all went wrong.
A lot of damage there. And Ben Rhodes had just moved around and cleared Lane Riggs for second before that caution came out. The expression on his face says it all, Michael.
That's exactly right. Let's see if we can pick this up.
So that's Tyler Wright
On the high side.
on the inside.
Oh, and Muniz tries to get down in a hole that just wasn't quite there, and they go spinning together.
Yeah, it just looks like a miscommunication over space there. I'm sure Frankie didn't know there was a truck on the inside move. If he did, he was just trying to get to the bottom. So
Wow, that was a big hit.
both of them. Yeah, big game with Timmy Hill with a bit of this as well. We didn't see that. He got to keep going on.
Tyler Wright for the 42. He was 20th at the time.
That'll end those two's night. That's big damage.
So that is our second caution for incident tonight. 11 to go in stage number 2.
Difficult time to be a crew chief.
I know. I was thinking the same
Not
thing.
much do you want stage points?
Yeah, what do we want to do? We want to come in and maybe get some tires and fuel and be done with it for the day? I think if I think I'm going to win the race, I got to make that call.
If you want to win $500,000, it's an easy call. Those guys haven't made a ton of progress here. You know, that did stick on tires.
Kyle Busch 18th.
First lap or two on the restart firing off, and that was
have yet to
it.
hit tonight. That includes our top 8, plus Justin Haley and Tanner Gray is back in 16th. Frustrating night. He's been in New York all week promoting the new show. He couldn't wait to get in his truck. He's like, when have you ever had an actor in a show racing, representing the show? And it's come to an unfortunate end. Well, tomorrow night is baseball night on Fox. This week we've got Roman Anthony and the Red Sox versus the Cardinals, or it's Rafael Devers and the Giants against the Orioles. Baseball night in America. That's tomorrow at 7 Eastern, only on Fox.
You know, Jamie, we went to the streets of St. Pete and we talked about how talented our truck racers are. We brought in some road course ringers. They couldn't do anything with our truckers. And now tonight we bring in 7 Cup guys, and look at the front of this field. It just tells you the talent that races here in the Truck Series.
No, absolutely. I mean, you look at the entry list for this race, and it's a pretty
Stacked.
stacked field if you look at
Very
it.
stacked.
But at the same time, to your point, the regulars and the teams for those regulars are really showing out tonight. And that's really cool to see that this series is that healthy at the moment.
Chase Briscoe, the strongest of the Cup guys so far, 7th for Tricon Garage. You ever miss the Truck Series, Austin?
It's crazy to think that it's almost been 10 years since I drove a truck.
Wow.
So I definitely enjoyed my time. I learned a ton because that was my first full-time year in a stock car was Truck Series. But these guys are all up to a big challenge, and some of the crew chiefs here with the pits being open.
This is a big call right now to come to pit road, and I think if you want, I think you got to pit.
I agree.
I want to pit.
So pits are open. See who decides to come. Christian Eckes does come down. He brings everybody with him except for Ben Rhodes. He decides to stay out. Josh, they're coming your way.
Let's start with the 91 of Christian Eckes, your stage 1 winner. Said he needs entry security and turnability on exit. He's going to get 4 tires, fuel, and an adjustment here, Caitlin.
Well, for Lane Riggs, he said he was just building tighter throughout the course of that run. As crew chief Dylan Capello said, I think we're going to be buried if we don't actually end up pitting here. So they too elected to come down pit road for 4 fresh tires. For Caden Honeycutt, he said, I just stayed the same the whole time during that run. So Scott Zipadelli said, we'll bring it down, get you tightened up, do an air pressure adjustment for that 11 truck. Jamie?
Jamie, if you're Christian Eckes, you look in the mirror, you see all those guys falling down pit road, you're like, yes, that's what I needed. Conversely, Ben Rhodes, since they want the points, that's exactly right, but he didn't have anybody stay with him, so this is going to be a tough road to hoe.
Yeah, 100%.
Just 4 trucks stayed out. Mentioned Ben Rhodes, the 16 of Justin Haley, the 7 of Kyle Busch, and the 10 of Corey LaJoy, the only ones to stay out. We'll see how this all shakes out. It'll be a rush to the finish of stage 2.
All right, so working our way into this final stage, or approaching it at least. We're going to have a couple lap shootout for stage number 1 first. This late caution involving Frankie Muniz towards the back of the pack just fell a lap down a few laps before getting in the crash with Tyler Reith. Both trucks going to be done for the night. A couple extra spots for Grant Enfinger, who had the battery change at the end of stage 1. That's why you live to fight another lap. Every point is very crucial, and it goes for Enfinger, who's had a slow start to the season. Came in 12th in points outside of a chase spot through the first 5 races. Going to lose a lot more here today as well. All right. So under caution with the stage break, we're going to have less than 5 laps to go when we get back green, which is going to be an extremely short run here at Bristol. 60 seconds or less. Wind them up, then we'll end up winding them down back again very shortly thereafter. So mixed bag up at the front of the field, some taking the stage points, some are not. Ben Rhodes is going to be the leader with Justin Haley in 2nd, Kyle Busch 3rd, Corey LaJoy 4th, Corey Heim 5th, and Christopher Bell in 6th. Christian Eckes won the race off of pit road in 7th, so the top 6 trucks stay out of the pits. And fresh tires for everybody else further back. The first lap or 2 on that restart, we saw some drivers kind of fire off on those fresh Goodyears, but once they got a couple of laps in, those that had the heat cycle and the 60-something odd laps on their tires before that, it equaled out pretty quickly. Ty Majeski was able to go from 12th to 7th, and he just stalled out, never picked up another spot the rest of the run. if you're fast enough by way of just the race truck you have underneath you overall, you're able to make some passes based off of where you might have started or restarted if you made some much needed improvements to the car adjustment-wise during a caution period or pit stops, but that's really been the only passing we've seen so far today. So it's a track position race here at Bristol, and right now Ben Rhodes has that track position and looking to get the fire off and hold on to the lead for the restart.
And whether that's gain points or they're going to say that again, I'm not sure. But Ben Rhodes is on the tires that he started the race with. I know that much.
Byron back outside the top 15, so he had to do something, and that's the call they made. Rhodes talking about how bad things are. Watch him go here. He's going to put all that behind him and get all he can get.
Corey Heim back in fifth. Took fuel only on that stop.
I don't know that Ben Rhodes was all that bad necessarily, considering he was at second and made a clean pass on Lane Riggs for the lead through lap traffic as well. One of the few trucks that have been able to work that middle to upper groove, as we've seen a few more venture up there late in that last green flag run. Green flag back in the air for stage number 2. 3 laps to go. That is the dash to make it to the end of the stage. Kyle Busch trying to compete for the stage win with Ben Rhodes. Unable to hang with him for the first lap on the race start. He does hold on for second place, at least in front of Justin Haley. And Haley came in 10th in points, so staying out to get these 8 stage points, I think, is a very good call for that 16 team. One lap to go for Ben Rhodes in stage 2. Pulling away from Kyle Busch. And that 7 truck's got nothing for the 99 right now. It's a big turnaround to get the stage win for Rhodes after a couple of DNFs in the last 2 races. Great stage points all around because he had quite a few in stage 1 also. Stage 2 winner is Ben Rhodes, Kyle Busch 2nd, Justin Haley 3rd, Corey Heim up to 4th, Christopher Bell 5th, and Christian Eckes in 6th. 7th was Corey LaJoie, Caden Honeycutt 8th, Jake Garcia 9th, and Lane Riggs rounds out the top 10. 1 point per position again. This is our 4th caution of the race now. That 3-lap green flag run to the end of stage 2. 2 cautions for incident, 1 in each of the first 2 stages. Stage 3 again, 120 laps in length as we're just past halfway here tonight. Full live commentary coverage of tonight's action continues right here on KRC. We will have more commentary throughout the weekend. O'Reilly Series racing tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, our next race live commentary stream. Our next overall live commentary stream will be tomorrow afternoon at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. Cup cars on the track for the first time at Bristol this season with Cup practice and qualifying. Again, 4:30 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. So doubleheader at 4:30 and 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Cup Series racing will be live early at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, about a half hour to 45 minutes before the drop of the green flag for our pre-race show. As we're at the end of stage 2, we're going to close off the chat poll now. 47 votes were casted for who you think is going to win tonight's race. Kyle Busch was 2nd at the end of stage 2, and he gets 51% of the votes. He has not led a lap yet, though, and really wasn't even looking like he had much to offer here tonight. Qualified 7th, and that was about as high as he ran up until the strategy of staying out of the pits during this last caution. So if he's not going to pit now, he's going to have to pit more than likely for fuel by the end of the race unless we get a lot of yellows and that team's able to save enough. And even then, I mean, he had nothing for the 99 on that last restart. But we'll see. Over half of you voted for him. It is Kyle Busch, it is a Truck Series, and it is Bristol. So I can understand the logic there, but unfortunately, on paper, it just doesn't seem like it has translated to the actual on-track activity we've seen so far this evening. 19% of you taking somebody other than Busch, Heim, or Bell for the win, and right now it's looking like that is going to be the case, because neither Busch, Heim, or Bell have led a lap yet. 17% of the votes going for Corey Heim, who was 4th at the end of stage 2, and Christopher Bell gets 13% of the votes. 4th and last of the voting poll, he was 5th. So all those drivers were top 5 at the end of stage 2, and I'm curious to see what they do here. Now, all of them did stay out to get those stage points. So again, we'll see what they're going to be able to do here. They may try to stretch it on fuel from the restart that we had to begin stage 2 to the end. It's kind of a shot in the dark, but if you can make it, that might be the best position they had of trying to get the race win. So can't blame them there. Christian Eckes dominated stage 1, won the first stage, dominated stage 2, pitted from the lead. He's led 120 of 134 laps so far tonight. And we are under caution yet again. Yep. Alex Bowman back in the race car this weekend. That is correct, Frank Powers. Medically cleared to compete. Missed the last 4 races and also subbed out at COTA. So has not completed a race since Atlanta, the second race of the year. It's going to be race number 8 for the Cup Series season on Sunday. Stage 2 winner has not won the last 8 truck races at Bristol. There was also a stat line that Michael Waltrip threw out on the Fox Sports 1 broadcast during the second to last caution period that we had, that the last 5 of 6 Truck Series race winners at Bristol all pitted just one time. So the one-stop strategy, more than likely going to be what it's going to take to win this race here today. Haven't seen the fall off as expected. The track position racetrack yet again. And we shall see what's going to happen. We do have some trucks on pit road.
Wait, look at the price. If there wasn't.
Ben Rhodes on his way in.
He wins the stage. Bad news is you leave your pit box. You take the pit gun with you.
Ouch.
Not good.
Well, I mean, the good news is Ben Rhodes isn't going to lose that many positions for equipment out of the box because there weren't that many trucks that came to pit road. Problem for Ben Rhodes, too, is because there weren't as many trucks that came to pit road, and a lot of which stayed out because they pitted during the caution late stage 2, not electing to go for the stage win or any kind of stage points. Rhodes, despite getting the stage 2 win, is going to be restarting now, well, tail end of the lead lap because of the equipment out of the box. But even if that didn't happen, he was going to restart 20th or worst. And we'll wait for our leaderboard to kind of shake up at the front of the field. We've got some risky takers up at the front. Kyle Busch, Corey Heim, and Christopher Bell. How about that? The top 3 in our chat poll are now 1 through 3, despite the fact that none of them have led a green flag lap yet today. Kyle Busch leading his first laps, it looks like, under caution, as they stayed out of the pits both at the end of stage 2 and the second to last caution that we had, which was the late stage yellow from the Frankie Muniz incident. Christian Eckes, who has dominated in laps, led again 120 so far today, and a stage 1 win, is in 4th. And does have fresher tires than those top 3, but we've only seen that really matter the first couple laps of a fire-off. After about those 3 laps that we ran, now everybody's had a heat cycle. I don't think the tires are going to mean anything. The good news is for Eckes, he's got a fast race truck. Obviously, he's led those laps for a reason. Yes, he had track position, was at times kind of holding up lane rigs. He couldn't get through lap traffic maybe as good as some other trucks, but he has to be faster than these 3 that are in front of him. Bell is the only driver of Busch, Heim, and Bell that have actually ran in the top 10 pretty consistently tonight. Busch was there at the very beginning of the race, and Corey Heim was there in 10th. But that was about as high as he has been in the running order up until this pit strategy. Hopefully the vertigo issue is okay. This is a real tough track for any types of those problems. I mean, it is true, but I don't think the doctors would have cleared Alex Bowman if they didn't think it was going to become an issue this weekend. I think that's part of the reason why it took as long for him to get cleared by doctors to race, because they wanted to make sure that they weren't going to send him out there early and then he would have more complicating issues, which would set him even further behind with recovery. So they're probably waiting for him to get back to 100%. I'm sure he's going to be really good to go this weekend. And if I had to guess, I'm not a doctor by any means, but if I had to guess, I think he'll be fine this weekend. If it does pop up again for whatever reason, then not going to be good for Alex Bowman health-wise, for a racing career in general. I mean, you take G-forces in all kinds of motorsports, especially when it comes to ovals. And, yeah, hopefully he is going to be all right, can complete all the laps, and looking forward to see Alex Bowman back in the car again.
It's worth a lot of money. Nickname? Any nickname?
For what Whitney Hamlin and Michael Jordan are doing, trying to get this guy a watch sponsorship.
That's right.
He's earned it.
I believe it hasn't happened yet.
Sponsorship. There he is. Consistently, steadily moving forward. You should be AC or electric.
How does that even remotely make sense?
AC is cool.
Thank you. Thanks, Jerry. See, that made me call, Michael. Thanks a lot.
We got a race to watch.
The Echo Park restarts.
Bush can't make it on fuel. That's what I do.
Get this argument done with.
They are making their way, Michael. It'll be 109 laps to go.
Look at Corey Heim. He's positioning up the track, trying to send Kyle up, and Kyle's not having it.
Drivers are in the Echo Park Automotive restart zone. Kyle Busch on the outside. Corey Heim on the inside. Justin Haley peaked, but he couldn't get it. Couldn't get in there and make the move.
A lot of gamesmanship on that restart, but meanwhile, Christopher Bell grabbing the outside of Kyle Busch, and he's got better tires than both of these guys as we see Christian Eckes slip up in the backfield.
Wow, so much going on.
It's the best we have seen Christopher Bell night long. He is in the conversation. Corey
Sideways, 5.
Yes, he was. Slips back to third. Caden Honeycutt in the 11, still there.
Corey LaJoy in that Ram truck into the top 5. He's been fast since he got that ride.
Caden Honeycutt's the first of kind of our original leaders of the majority of the night to really break through on this common strategy. And I think he's going to be in a good spot. We've seen him struggle on the short ones tonight, but this has been his best restart so far.
Guys, you saw the yellow truck. He keeps peeking up the track again. Lane Riggs right there. Trying to make it work, trying to get around Ross Chastain.
Ross is going to be in tough fast. Talked about the strong run for Corey LaJoy. I wondered about Kyle Busch. Did he leave early? NASCAR says he's clean. But Corey LaJoy has a restart violation.
Oh, and we got trouble.
And he just got a gift, too, with this caution coming out.
And the 15 of Tanner Gray.
Yeah, caution's out already. Tanner Gray going to go around, and we have a spinner at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Well, Kyle Busch held on, got a quick caution. He can make it on fuel if we get a bunch of these in this final stage, which I think is the strategy plan. Knowing he is probably going to be short on fuel to the end. Tires aren't going to matter for Kyle Busch that he hasn't pitted since the end of stage 1 because he just ran his fastest lap of the day at lap 144 on this restart. Christopher Bell, lap 145, did the same thing in the second spot. Also, the cleanest air Busch has probably had to deal with today, too, so that also helps with the lap time. But yeah, those tires not going to really matter much. Christian Eckes, who dominated the day in 6th. Honeycutt is the highest in the running order of those that pitted before the end of stage 2 in 4th. Honeycutt led the first 2 laps of the day for the pole, has not led since. A couple trucks involved in an incident down in turns 1 and 2. Andres Perez going for a spin off of Ferguson's front bumper and the checkup of trying to miss another truck that was already spinning sideways up against the outside wall. Second time Perez has gone around today. 5th yellow now, 3rd for incident. And cautions breeding cautions with the yellow late in stage 2, then the stage caution after 3 green flag laps. Ran about another 4 green flag laps there before the next yellow. Next restart should be with less than 100 laps to go at Bristol. Hail Mary strategy called for Kyle Busch, but, I mean, he looked good in clean air. That might be all he needs to try to go for the win. Tanner Gray in the 15, by the way, who's the truck who went for a spin initially before the Perez contact with Ferguson trying to miss the 15 who was washing up the racetrack. Connor Burke, welcome into the stream, by the way. Greetings to everybody tuning in for tonight's live commentary stream. We're going to take a quick break here early in Stage 3. Again, you're listening live to our full flag-to-flag coverage of tonight's race. All right. Yeah, we got a fun one here today. It's Bristol, baby. It's hard to believe we've had 40 laps of caution because we haven't really had a lot of lengthy cleanup. I guess when the laps go by so quickly here, it's easy to add them up under yellow, even though we actually haven't had many cautions in general. Especially only 3 for incident. Like, we've only had 3 incidental cautions in 150 laps. It's actually been a pretty good race. Bristol doesn't lead to as many cautions as what we usually see on short tracks in the Truck Series ranks. Historically, Martinsville has had well more of an amount of cautions at both the Truck and O'Reilly Series races. And we were actually going over that a couple weeks ago at Martinsville, where we did have a lot of yellows in both the Truck and O'Reilly races, but that was to be expected. Not expecting that here tonight. Everything we've seen so far, pretty normal for what we've seen in recent years, especially with these truck races at Bristol. Varying in length between 200 to 250 laps. This one longer, 250 laps for this evening. And again, Kyle Busch is the race leader under caution. Christopher Bell in second, Corey Heim third, Caden Huncutt in fourth. Christian Eckes is fifth, sixth is Chandler Smith, Jake Garcia seventh, Lane Riggs in eighth, Ross Chastain ninth, Stuart Friesen is 10th.
Hot season. Truck Series takes the short track here at Bristol. That's Sunday at 3 Eastern, and pre-race coverage starting at 2. That's only on FS1.
If I get your blood a pumping, knowing what you got ahead.
Gosh, I know I've made it if I go up in one of those promos one day. So I doubt I ever have. And gosh, that's how you know.
Aero coverage brought to you by Goodyear. Legends aren't born, they're proven.
Isn't
Right,
that beautiful?
Michael?
Yes.
Yes.
That's a
They're proven.
beautiful scene. Goodyear is such a big part of this sport for 100 years. Proven. Let's choose it up.
What do they do? Bush, Bell, Heim, Honeycutt, Eckes, Chandler Smith. Haven't talked much about him right there in the 38.
Yeah, you're right. Quietly creeping his way forward.
Winner of this race last year. Hasn't really been a threat yet.
So a lot of gamesmanship on the last restart between Kyle Busch, Corey Heim. Corey Heim trying to roll his own event. Kyle waiting a while. Be interested to see what Bell does to try and combat the disadvantage of being on the bottom row.
I think Heim kind of got Kyle's attention by running him up the hill a little bit. Didn't like what was going on there. Let's see how nicely these two play. And there lurks Christian Eckes there on the second row in that 91. We know how fast he's been all night.
Big gain on the shoes for him.
All right, Kyle Busch chooses the outside. Christopher Bell on the inside. Green flag in the air once again. 97 laps to go at Bristol. What a restart.
Oh, wow.
Christopher Bell. Christian Eckes makes the most of it on the inside. They are leaning on each other for third. Meanwhile, Caden Honeycutt is back on the hunt.
That's a huge slide from Bell and a huge opportunity for Corey Heim and Kyle Busch to get away from these guys on first tires.
There goes
Christian Eckes into third. He's led the most laps so far. He led at 120, and he's on the march forward.
He tried to shut the door on C. Bell, and Bell wasn't having any of that.
It's going to be important for Christian Eckes to clear to go hunt down some of these leaders.
Oh, and look at that.
Again.
And he does. And around goes
Back straight.
Butcher, the 13. That brings the caution out for the 6th time. Cole Butcher, significant damage left front. Oh, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. involved.
This is helping Kyle Busch. I know Ricky Stenhouse and Cole Butcher don't want to hear that right now, but every caution flag laps gains him some laps toward making it to the checker. He has that track position now, Austin, and it appears his truck's plenty fast enough to keep it.
Absolutely. See what happened here. It's all kind of developed off of turn 2 and spun out cars on the back straight away.
See,
Oh,
Butcher.
Butcher just gets loose. See what Ricky finds. Oh, tries to slip through quickly on the bottom. Don't blame him for that. Just couldn't quite get there.
Justin Haley gets a piece of that right there.
A lot of these drivers, it's just getting in trouble from who reacts the soonest. Get run over from behind, or it's congestion. But the difficult part is we can look at this from above and see that. But when you're in the driver's seat and you're entering turn 1 inside of the cereal bowl at Bristol, you have no idea what's on the other side of that back straightaway unless your spotter's telling you.
Cole Butcher had such a great rock in him, and now he finds himself in trouble as you see him spinning up ahead in the red truck.
Oh, coming in hot.
Round goes to Lara.
That's the second time that Ferguson's gotten into Perez because he didn't brake early enough for a caution.
There's a lot of this racing. You could just chalk it up to this tough half mile here in Tennessee. You talked about this special patch of concrete that they have here, but it creates havoc.
Absolutely. No, it's wrecks that we've seen tonight is nothing that hasn't been seen before in Bristol. It's just the difficulty of this track. That's why it's chaotic. That's why you have to be, if you're working this race and if you're watching it, you have to be on the edge of your seat ready to see what's going to happen next, because things do just happen so quickly, not just, kind of lap, but things that can change a race.
And then the restarts. We've seen craziness at the front with the restarts. And these two, when they're on the front row earlier, had a bit of a argument about how to restart the race. We'll see how it goes down this time.
And Hyman slipped back a bit, but he's found his way back as they sit 1-2. Let's look at this head to head. Kyle Busch, Corey Heim. 16 races. Not too bad for Corey Heim considering Kyle Busch's experience.
And I'm going to tell you, Austin, we talked this earlier, and Corey Heim's the only guy you put on the screen with Kyle Busch. Every other is 100% right. Every other racer will pale in comparison to what Corey Heim's been able to do versus the best truck racer ever. It's just been simply amazing.
I just want to know, out of the 22 Bristol wins that Kyle Busch has across all 3 series, is any one of them a few mileage win?
Good question.
Probably
I
not.
doubt it.
I mean, he's going to have to earn this for the next 91 laps, but set the stage here. He will have, will have had to win it every type of way here, imaginable.
And this truck was mired back in 18th position. And he got the track position, and now look at it.
Toyota on board with Corey Heim. Nice look at Kyle Busch.
Busch and Heim, 1-2. Interesting way they both just have
Seen it before.
would do it, but they've done it.
Look who's in third now. We got Christian Eckes. We got Caden Honeycutt. The only one we're really missing from the majority of this race is Lane Riggs back at 9th. So those guys are going to have something to say about it. Obviously, Seabell had that huge slide. He's on the 2 tires. But I'd like to see what Eckes and Honeycutt have to say. Those are our 2 regulars that have a really great shot with 90 laps to go to try and win this race still.
Heim's on really old tires. Took fuel only on his stop at lap 123. And Kyle Busch, you guys mentioned that he was going to be about 20 laps short, but we've 2.5 cautions since we heard that radio.
We've narrowed that down. I think we're going to have to go for it now. I think we're within 10 laps of being there. Just a few more caution laps.
Well, how about when Kyle Busch and Corey Heim go head to head and just their races and their seasons? 325. I mean, Unbelievable.
Fracture wrist.
These guys,
1 versus 20.
are just
29 versus 28.
I don't think Heim's got to the front yet tonight, though.
He is not. 29 straight races led.
That's incredible. It's incredible how close those numbers are for those two drivers as well.
It's also incredible what Corey Heim has done since he showed up in the Truck Series. You know, Kyle, he's raced the truck his whole career while racing Cup, accomplishing those records. Corey Heim has just been a trucker. Now he's moving up to O'Reilly and the Cup Series. But wow, what he's done has been simply impressive.
38 Chandler Smith, Ford Racing on board. Haven't talked a whole lot about him, but he's been there. He's been there in the top 6, 7 all race long.
He's been steady. I think they, if I remember correctly, they were able to benefit from a strategy call in stage 1 going into stage 2 with staying out, and gained a ton of track position from there. They've been able to hold it, and clearly on these restarts, he's been able to do well and keep his track position, move forward. You know, Lane Riggs on the other end has not been able to make the same progress that some of these other guys on his same strategy have. And there could be a number of reasons why on these restarts with as many different, strategies and lane choices and guys slipping up and leave wrecks, and it's chaos as we alluded to earlier.
We're going to choose it up here. See who goes where. Kyle's been taking the top.
I think what's very interesting is
He's got to the pace car there. See how close he got to the pace car?
They're opening up that bottom lane for Christian Eckes.
Yeah, I think that was Merry Christmas for Christian Eckes there to be able to have a chance at the front row with better tires. And interesting call by Corey Heim. I don't disagree with it. He's just hoping that Kyle Busch has a really supreme launch and he's able to gain control. Maybe he feels as though
He's done it once already. Busch has.
If he goes into this, 87 lap run with better track position from this, outside second row.
Well, we know the drivers around Kyle Busch have enough fuel, but does Kyle have enough Sunoco fuel with zero carbon bioethanol to make it to the end? Has he saved enough under these caution flags? We will find out. This is going to be a good matchup right here on the front row. Christian Eckes was the truck to beat, so strong early, led the majority of this race. And here we go. Kyle Busch chooses the outside again. It worked for him last restart. Christian Eckes on the inside. And he does it again. No problem. Clears Eckes. Corey Heim on the outside.
Oh,
To close the door.
I'm just keeping his nose in there.
Clear of Corey Heim. So win for Eckes, but he's got well.
He moved him. Heim moved Eckes.
Breaks back in 10th.
Wonder if Eckes is a little bit hot under the collar. That was an aggressive move.
Thomas been done during the night too, so I'm sure he's not super happy about it, but he still falls into 3rd place, and they're single filing out now again for the first 6, 7 spots.
Nice mix in the top 5 now of Cup drivers, truck regulars, and you have Corey Heim.
Lane Riggs did say it's go time, though. He's got to be able to make up these spots to have a chance to win. He was 9th before the restart. He's back up to 9th again. So one of the favorites from earlier in the race. It's a tall task. I mean, we got to spin off 4.
Luke Baldwin around.
It's like perhaps the only true involved there. Caution comes out for the 7th time. So, Kyle, save some more.
Kyle's feeling even better about their fuel. So even with 82 laps to go, I don't even know if it's a conversation anymore. But yeah, definitely a tough break there for Luke Baldwin. See what happened here off of turn 4. But
As you look over the racetrack, and it looks like a wreck could happen anywhere. You can see Daniel Suarez in the 71, and there's the 2 right behind him, and just
it's Corey LaJoie trying to recover from that penalty for the restart violation. And at this track, when you're running the bottom like this, if you leave half a car, you're vulnerable for getting moved. But there's no left fender left on that truck, so that's just tough racing at this track. But I'm sure Luke Baldwin didn't appreciate that.
Yeah, and you got to also just put in your memory bank the shove that Corey Heim gave to Christian Eckes. They're going to be
That was a $500,000 shove.
Yes.
That's sometimes all you need is a reason.
He's got a reason to move him back. We'll see what goes down.
I don't think he would have attempted an aggressive move quite like that with the money not on the
Nice
line.
job of separating.
And how tough it is to pass here.
Here's our new cameraman that we've hired. Carson has been in the middle of everything. Nice job there, getting it slowed down and through the mess.
I think it's been about the last 4 straight cautions. It's that onboard footage. Tough break for Luke Baldwin. He's trying to make a name for himself, just his 7th career start. 2nd incident that he got caught up in. So meanwhile, up front, Kyle Busch. So he stayed out on lap 123 when the others behind him pitted. He was 18th at that time.
Yes, and that's where he had been all race long.
Big strategy play for Brian Patty, who's been around a minute. He knows how to get it done. Kyle Busch won his only truck race this season so far at Atlanta. Can he do it? Make it 2 for 2 at Bristol Motor Speedway.
A little less than 80 laps to go under caution yet again. Our 7th of the race. They're starting to pile on here in stage 3. So much for me saying that this is a race that doesn't have a lot of cautions. Generally speaking, kind of picking up where we left off in the last half-mile short track at Martinsville just a couple weeks ago. Kyle Busch leads this race on fuel mileage, trying to stretch it to the end. He did not pit at all during stage 2 or at the end of the stage. Corey Heim also, I believe, is on the same strategy. Same for Christopher Bell, all trying to save and make it up fuel to the end of the race. They have not pitted since the lap 65, stage 1 yellow. Last went green, obviously, for a long enough green flag run that was longer than 10 laps. Not since we had a nearly 50-lap green flag run in the middle of stage 2. So it's been quite some time. Not a lot of tire fall off also allows for this strategy to come into play in the first place. And 5 of the last 6 winners here have won by only pitting once. So Kyle Busch on that one-stop strategy, maybe not as much of a one-stop strategy as what we've seen out of others in the past at Bristol, but that's because we haven't seen as many yellows in those races compared to what we've seen here today. So it was a gamble, and it's somehow paying off. If you would have looked at the trends of what this race has produced, or just truck or O'Reilly races in general have produced at Bristol, would not have probably expected this to happen. So it was a clear hope and a prayer, and that may have been answered for that 17. Kyle Busch is the race leader. Corey Heim is 2nd. Christian Eck is 3rd. Christopher Bell 4th. Caden Honeycutt in 5th. Chandler Smith 6th. Ross Chastain 7th. Stuart Friesen 8th. Lane Riggs 9th. Jake Garcia rounds out our top 10 right now. Again, a little less than 80 laps to go. We'll take a quick break. You're listening live KRC. Our full flag-to-flag coverage continues for the Bristol Truck Night Race. You'll listen into a little bit more of the Fox Sports 1 broadcast when they come back from commercial again. Hopefully we get a longer green flag run in at some point. I'll tell you what, with how quickly the laps wind down, let's just say we go green to the end and we restart with a little over 70 laps to go. It is going to take less than 20 minutes to get those laps in. So there's not a lot of time left to get by Kyle Busch, generally speaking. But these cautions are definitely helping Busch too, because not only he's surviving the restarts, but he's able to save fuel and have a chance because of it.
This being 10 years later. Did this race, and this was in qualifying, made it in the final transfer, so this is a tough place.
I'd say things worked out okay for you.
It's not how you start, it's how you finish, so
You were heavy on the gas. That's what it takes, right?
something like that. Oh, we got Kyle Busch slow.
So we were told that Kyle Busch was warned that he was coming close to restarting too soon. Not sure what the issue.
That looks like he's been trying to save fuel, refire, and he didn't refire.
Oh, no.
That's huge.
Yes, it is.
For this race.
We saw how normal that truck was back in traffic, and now he's stuck back there again.
It's a big turn of events
So now,
for Kyle.
Heim is, I guess, promoted as the outside lane car, but Christian X will be the leader. This has happened before in a cup race, Indianapolis, I think. It'd be interesting to see if they give Eckes lane choice or not.
Well, Kyle Busch was shutting his engine off, saving that fuel that we talked about, turning it back on, but it didn't refire when he needed it to. Let's see what Kyle had to say about that situation.
Everything okay? Really, we went very higher.
Well,
Not happy about it. So
he saw that.
I mean, needs to be frustrated for sure.
Yeah, you're doing your job. You're doing everything you can to save that fuel to get to the finish, and just couldn't execute the refire.
But if you don't maintain the rules of NASCAR, if you don't maintain pace car speed, you don't get your spots back. Obviously, they're Stuart Friesen. He's lined up on the inside. He's protesting the spot. NASCAR has to make a decision on lineup here if they already haven't. You know, it's being through the spotters, and yeah, just really tough break for the 7.
well, NASCAR is adding a lap to get this all sorted out. So Kyle Busch
Might need more than
is
one
the
lap.
leader. Now he's back in 10th, but they can't restart 3 wide. Somebody's got to give here.
Stuart Friesen thinks that that's his spot, and he's going to show the world that he thinks that. See what how NASCAR rules this.
And they do go back, similar to cautions. I would imagine they go back to timing lines around the racetrack to determine, you know, where Kyle was.
They want
Got
you
me fired.
behind the 88 on the outside lane. So outside lane behind the 88.
Oh, wow.
So he needs to get around
Gio Ruggiero
Giro right there in the
trying to work
7th.
that out.
Okay, now they relayed the message to Gio.
All right.
Stewart says, okay, thank you. That's my spot. Now we can restart, boys.
We're told that because he chose the outside lane, he belongs in the outside lane for where he fell back to. Adding one more lap. Want to go with the line. Corey Hine, biggest gift of the year here.
Wow.
Have lane choice.
Is this the way Corey Heim wins 500 grand?
And Christian Eckes, strong truck all night long. Can he do anything on that bottom line? We haven't seen anyone win the race from the bottom.
No, but he did do a great job at his launch last time. That was probably the best we've seen somebody do off of the bottom lane and be able to maintain that second place position.
Looking at the 3rd row as well. Chandler Smith, the inside, he has his teammate Lane Briggs on the outside, the winners of the 2 Bristol races last year.
My pick, Caden Honeycutt, up on the outside in that red truck, getting his tires all buffed in.
He's still digging.
Yes, he is right there in the mix, just like he is week in and week out.
Right, we're told that we are clear to restart.
Yay!
I'm not sure this is our last restart, Austin. But these guys are all about running into each other.
It's one way to put it, Michael. These guys are all about running into each other.
Sing again, it'll be 72 laps to go at the line. Christian Eckes.
Great job by Christian Eckes to get the power down there and be able to continue.
Oh boy!
The same basic. Look at Lane Briggs trying to go way up.
Oh, he turned him! No! Oh no!
Inside wall. Caution is out for the 8th time.
Well, a lot developed there in a short amount of time. But
Wow.
a ton of damage there for the one truck, and also Hayden Honeycutt, 11.
Both the points leaders.
Nick here at Bristol, late in the going.
What in the world?
Heim and Honeycutt. Heim going for 500 grand and gets turned.
Pushing, want to get away from him until he falls down. Was there contact prior to Eckes turning Corey Heim around?
A lot of fluid on the racetrack in turn 2. Guys, that's not just your night being over, but $350,000 just went out the window. Corey Heim will not complete the triple truck challenge.
He was in a position to do just that.
He sure was. He took that lead right when he cleared Christian Eckes is when it all went sideways.
Well, we didn't see how Heim got in front of Eckes, or at least side by side.
Caden Honeycutt by his truck.
Look up front.
It was Christopher Bell nearly crashing, and then right here,
Yeah, he
shoved
moved him again.
shoved him out of the way, and you want to be able to get away from a guy. I think that was just,
I don't know what to think. You look at that and you can easily make a case that Christian's trying to get back down to the bottom. And probably get a close clear and trim the favor. Just a ton of laps left to have that, but there's obviously the move for the lead.
shove up. And maybe Christian held his line. It looked like maybe Corey Haim came up a bit. Well, let's see what we see here.
Yeah, it's close. It's a tough call. But I mean, either way, I mean, it's just a bummer for, two trucks, with the 1 and the 11 that both could easily see winning the race tonight. Their nights are over with a lot of laps left on the books here.
It was a big hit, couple of them.
3 trucks that we talked about all day, guys, that had the potential to win it here tonight.
I think that's the second time Eckes had been knocked out of the way. He's just running thin. There was a bit of a squeeze middle way down the front, but then Corey Haim faded away from him before they made contact. Man, you forget sometimes how hard you could hit at this little racetrack. You could hear that contact. It was huge. And we heard Haim comment.
His hand ripped up the steering wheel there. That always stings a bit, but yeah, once again, like I said, Michael, big impact.
Eckes able to slip by, but you can see Christopher Bell was able to get by also. And then, unfortunately for Lane and Caden, they're swept into the wreck.
Yeah, Lane Riggs, well, point, red flag.
This has been one of those nights.
It really has been. So Corey Haim, right at that moment that he took the lead, he was given credit for leading that lap. So in all the negativity, Michael, the positive is now it's 30 straight races that he has led, but it ended just as quickly.
He doesn't care about that. This is a tough moment.
So let's listen to more Corey Haim radio after that incident.
Mild up.
So talking about Eckes can't get through the gears?
I think, to me, it sounded like he was more upset about not being able to shift very well than the wreck, but
For himself?
yeah, just for the launches on those restarts. Obviously, he got beat on the launch there. Probably the last 2 times. Yeah, that's probably where some of that frustration was. But yeah,
Just frustrated with himself not being able to get through the gears. And then he talked about his elbow. He hit his elbow pretty good.
you saw that second hit. He kind of got his hands ripped off the wheel and kind of bounced your arms off the bottom of the seat there. Kind of wreck enough times you have that happen, but.
Man, that's a tough end to a bid for 500 grand.
Let's listen to Christian Eckes' radio.
And he was not trying to hook them there, which means coming into that right rear. NASCAR frowns upon that. It's like tight racing at Bristol, maybe just moved over a little bit, but the result was a crash for Corey Haim.
Haven't seen a lot of that over the years, over the last couple of years for Corey Haim. Well, as you take a look at Corey Haim's truck on the hook, it has been a wild night.
It has been that.
You've seen a little bit of everything. Frankie Muniz, Tyler Reif get together early. No small wrecks here.
Here's the Rice truck. Frankie out of his.
Life's still unfair. Well said right there. Frustration for Frankie Muniz.
3 wide, Tanner Gray, push into that. Ricky Stenhouse around to the back.
Kristen taking it for it wide and his incident. For the joy.
Into Luke Baldwin.
From the lead. Walk-free fire loses a lot of track position, and then this is the most recent incident that has us under caution for the 8th time. Huge hit for Corey Heim and the man who drives the truck that Corey Heim did, Caden Honeycutt.
And look at Lane Riggs coming in there.
So red flag is out. You see all that massive cleanup between turns 1 and 2. A lot of fluid on the track.
These guys are running really close together and running into each other.
Always talk about short tracks, short tempers. That's why people love it. They come to see this place, what it gives you under the lights.
Still got a lot of racing left too. 70 laps. That's as long as both of our stage lengths have been. So it's longer.
We haven't been able to run that many laps under green flag.
Yeah.
I mean, you get to do it on Sunday, Austin.
Sure do. I'm excited. I love this place. It's I mean, we've seen it tonight. It's been a crazy racetrack. You get the long runs, and I feel like NASCAR has done a really good job over the last couple of years from a track prep standpoint, to where in the last few years we've been able to run top and bottom in most series, which is, I feel like, where this race really shines. So excited to see what we got on Sunday with a new tire and with the track that we got, with the beautiful weather we got.
Looking forward to seeing you guys. You get on track tomorrow at 4:30 Eastern. All right, let's take a look here.
Let's start at restart and see the jump there that Eckes got. Christian did a great job, but then Heim rallies on the top, and you can see drives round Bell when Bell's sideways. They get down to turn 1 and 2, and right there shoves them out of the way. And I'm sure that didn't set too well with Eckes. Then you can see the little bobble to the left, and around goes Heim.
He got into him on the restart before that, too.
What Heim was talking about as far as firing in the zone, before the restart, we were talking about how much of a gift it was for Corey to be able to start in that outside lane, and what an opportunity that would be. And that's probably why X's restart looked as good as it did. But yeah, I think the rest of the restart play, I mean, it's pretty aggressive race for the lead there.
For sure.
There's 70 laps left, and I mean, it shows you how important track position is to these guys, and what it means to be, pushing and shoving and moving guys out of the way for the front spot. But it just completely changed the complexion with who's running up front here.
Well, one of the drivers involved there, Caden Honeycutt. He's with Josh.
Well, strong run today, and tonight comes to an end early for Caden Honeycutt. What did you see there from your perspective, just kind of getting caught up in someone else's mess?
2 guys' history, like everybody else's race. Just it's so stupid. We had, I don't even know how many got to go, 70-some laps to go. Plenty of time. Like, we could have just raced. I know that Corey got into him a couple of times, but that's just direct. 4 or 5 trucks there, really good trucks. But yeah, we had a good strong day. Didn't fire off where I was wanting for. We are a little bit loose on the side, but it was a really good long run. Our Safe Flight Toyota Tundra was great. I really thought we were putting ourselves in good spots right there at the end to somehow see if we can go and win the race. I thought I was a little better than 91 with that other set of tires.
Sorry to cut that interview out all of a sudden there. Under red flag conditions with about 70 laps to go even in tonight's race. So while we are parked here waiting for caution to resume, and we're just talking to Caden Honeycutt. I didn't get my phone on a charger quick enough. It just died on me mid-interview. So luckily it did that during this time period versus a green flag time period. A lot of cautions here tonight. Race was already running a bit long with the 8 yellows that we have seen, 6 lead changes, 61 laps under caution of 180 complete. So about a third of the race under yellow. Majority of the laps that we've ran in stage 3 have been under caution. We actually, if I had to guess, combined have probably less than 20 green flag laps in this final stage of the 50 that we have completed in stage 3 so far. So Christian Eckes is the race leader, again under the red flag. And Christopher Bell is second. Chandler Smith third. Ross Chastain fourth. Ty Majeski is in fifth. Sixth place is Kyle Busch. Seventh is Chase Briscoe. Stuart Friesen in eighth. Jake Garcia 9th. Gio Ruggiero rounds out the top 10. And Carson Hocevar in 11th. Dawson Sutton 12th. Ben Rhodes 13th. Tyler Ankrum 14th. Lane Riggs 15th. Daniel Suarez 16th. Brendan Queen 17th. Corey LaJoie 18th. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 19th. Minnie Tyrell 20th. And Daniel Hemrick 21st, Justin Haley 22nd, Tanner Gray 23rd, Carson Ferguson 24th, Cole Butcher 25th. 26th and last truck on the lead lap is Andres Perez. Corey Heim 27th, Caden Honeycutt 28th, Luke Baldwin 29th, Spencer Boyd 30th, Chris Wright 31st, Grant Enfinger 32nd, Timmy Hill 33rd, Tyler Wright 34th, Frankie Muniz 35th, and Clayton Green rounds out the 36 truck field. Tough to tell who is all DNF because of this incident because they only had a couple of laps under caution before the red flag was displayed. Good news is the red flag has been lifted and we're back under caution flag conditions again. And pit road will open within a couple more yellow flag laps once the safety equipment that was on the track helping with the cleanup makes their way back into the pit lane and into the garage area, wherever they need to park to get out of the way to access pit road for those that are still on the track and in the race. They have not been able to open the pits yet. Lengthy cleanup and a lot of speedy dry, especially down in turns 1 and 2 where the incident took place. Self-cleaning racetrack is Bristol. The banking, everything kind of funnels down to the bottom. And it's so blind to know exactly what's going on in front of you when something like that happens. You come up off the exit of the corner, you have about 3 seconds of straightaway, and it's a very little bit of time to try to react at these high-rated speeds for how short this racetrack is, and no way for a lot of these trucks to miss it. Brendan Gibson, DHP, thanks for tuning in, everyone. Favorite driver will not win, just Bell doesn't win. I'm assuming you mean that, like, you're hoping Christopher Bell doesn't win? I don't know who your favorite driver is, but maybe there's still hope for him. Unless maybe Corey Heim was your guy, then yes, he is out. Heim and Honeycutt are definitely out from this last wreck. I'm not sure if anybody else is as well. I'll have to wait on that. But again, back under caution flag conditions, which is good. Eckes has led the most laps so far tonight, so it's kind of fitting that he's the one that takes the lead after contact between he and Corey Heim. 126 of 182 laps led for Eckes. He did win stage 1 as well. And I believe he was in 4th at the end of stage 2. Alternate pit strategies for some of those at the front of the pack. Been under caution for about 2 laps now since the red flag has been lifted. Trying to get my phone to enough charge so I can get back on Hulu and catch the end of this race with you guys. It's back on. It's very slow. It's an old phone. I think I've had it for like 3 or 4 years now. It's been dropped a few times. Doesn't work quite like it once did. Not that it was the greatest phone to begin with, but I don't think I'll be getting another Motorola anytime soon. Whenever I do end up making the upgrade, it's probably going to be something that is not a Motorola. Chris Davis saying, I hope Christian wins. Well, he's led the laps, that's for sure. Bristol bratwurst in comparison to Martinsville hot dog. That's pretty funny. Yes, both half-mile short tracks, I guess, have to have the glizzies or some sort of them at the abundance. I feel like bratwurst is probably more expensive than like a hot dog, so maybe it'd have to be like $3 instead of $2. Maybe double. Maybe it's double the price. $4 ain't bad. I haven't had a bratwurst in a minute. The Bristol bratwurst. I mean, it's got a nice ring to it. With the 2 B's.
It's the most impressive stat that we've covered tonight. That's wild. Yeah. 2 years for a DNF.
And he's had things happen. We've
That's
seen
4 this year in Cup, I think. By the way,
We're laughing with you, not at.
I know. By the way, he's DNF from the lead.
I mean,
True. That's
another fact that's hard to fathom.
How about Christian Eckes around this place? Pretty good.
That's a lot. That's impressive. Past some legends there.
Just tonight, Timothy Peters, Ron Hornaday, he passed them for laps led here.
2 to go, and we're going to re-rack it and do it all again.
Hopefully we've all settled down.
Yes.
Have that red flag period.
Hopefully.
At home, you've got some snacks, cozied up under your blanket, because I don't know what time it is.
I don't either, but I'm feeling good about this restart being crazy, but hopefully everybody keeps them headed straight.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Plenty of racing left. Another little 65 lap stint. We've seen the track move around quite a bit in this amount of time frame, especially when the trucks catch lap traffic. I don't know. Have a lot of different varying strategies here too for tires, but I think we've established that tires aren't super premium at the moment.
And what about C. Bell in that 62 truck? We've seen him sideways on every restart.
The last 2 in a row, he's been plumb sideways off of turn 2.
I'm not sure he's looking forward to this or not.
For choosing. It's worked out well for Christian Eckes to be on the outside. He does it again. So does Bell.
Big win for Chandler Smith there, being able to get a front row restart.
Ross Chastain went to the bottom with him. Look at Dawson Sutton up in the 11th spot after crash in practice, and he's got a great run going here in that 26 Tennessee.
Truck looks good. Andy Jeffers is loving that.
Good looking ride.
Great state of Tennessee.
We're celebrating the balls here. Bristol, Tennessee. Let's go race it. See what we can get done here. Kyle Busch still lurking back there after that issue last.
All right, going to have 63 laps to go on the restart. And as Michael Waltrip was about to state there, yes, Kyle Busch back in it. He misses the incident, moves up about 4 positions in doing so. Now he's in 6th place. Don't count him out of it. If we get another abundance of restarts, it's worked out well for him already. All right, green flag back in the air. Eckes will lead us to the green. He chose the outside of row number 1, gets a good roll in the launch. And he might be in danger of losing the lead to Christopher Bell, who is outside of row 2 on the restart into turn 3, slips to the outside of Eckes, maybe catching the 91 napping, and Bell leads his first lap of the day. If he can complete this pass on the outside, that is going to be an impressive move on the high side, but the outer lane is slowly coming into play as this race has progressed. Bell has led the last 2 laps of the start-finish line, but he has not been able to clear Eckes yet. Eckes slides up into Bell, and Bell squeezed against the wall up out of turn 2. Contact is made there. Oddly enough, it might have helped Bell clear for turn 4 as he is in the lead out right now. Eckes close to the back bumper of the 62 after that slight bit of contact. Eckes had a little bit too much of a wiggle and got the worst end of that contact with losing rear security off of turn 4 and that transition from the banking to the flatness of the straightaway here at Bristol. And Bell, despite getting sandwiched against the wall, it was very subtle contact with the outside wall, and he really didn't have a lot of contact from the inside as well, so I don't think he's going to have a cut tire of any kind here. I don't notice the tires rubbing on either the left or right side of the race truck. And unfortunately for Ty Majeski, he's on pit road with an unscheduled stop, and he was having a pretty solid day up inside the top 10 for most of it. Majeski into the pits, and they are changing tires, so maybe a bit of a tire rub after contact on the restart in the back half of the top 10 for the 88 team. They're going to change rights only just to get him back out running as quickly as possible. Obviously, with pitting under green, he's going to lose a lap here at Bristol, maybe even two, where he gets back out running again, and now Majeski falls out of the top 25. Of the drivers that were involved in the incident that brought out the red flag, let's see here. Corey Heim and Caden Honeycutt, Luke Baldwin, I believe, were the three drivers DNF from that crash. Actually, Baldwin might have been that many laps down because of the couple incidences he was already involved in today. But Heim and Honeycutt for sure are done. And if I missed an interview with Corey Heim, I apologize for that. My phone was off at the time because it had died, so I didn't have any access to the race for about a 5-minute period during the red flag. We did get to hear most of Caden Honeycutt's interview. Hopefully Corey Heim is okay. I know he mentioned something about his elbow hurting after that impact. Maybe got his hand ripped from the wheel a bit. Kind of a dangerous situation when that could happen. Honeycutt had slammed him right in that left front tire too, so it definitely jerked the wheel away from his hands. Christopher Bell, the first time he has led all race long in trying to hold on to the track position, so we got a Cup Series veteran who actually won the last Cup race at Bristol in the 2025 summer event last season in September. And Christian Eckes, a former Truck Series winner at Bristol and obviously a Truck Series veteran, now back full-time with McAnally Hilgeman Racing, former Championship 4 competitor, and early season points looking pretty good for Eckes, and a pretty good points night so far. Kind of helping him in a way is the fact that the top two in points were both taken out in that last incident. Tied for the points lead coming into the evening between Honeycutt and Heim. Heim with the tiebreaker having the 2 wins versus none for Honeycutt. And now it's a chance for Eckes to try to get the good finish, and he's already won a stage this evening. And if he can get a race win, that's going to be even that much more on the point side of things for him. Bell's lead about 0.4 of a second over Christian Eckes in the second place position. 2.1 seconds to Chandler Smith in third. 2.5 seconds to Ross Chastain in fourth. Kyle Busch is up to fifth now, 2.8 seconds out of the lead. 46 laps to go this time by at Bristol for Bell in the 62.
Truck race. Cam, is coaching.
See, but now just catching up traffic as you 76 here, but
Run that's going to give Eckes. He's going to get there.
this is where things start to get dicey. Things start to move around, and decisions have to be made. Whether if that's Seatbelt staying tough to the bottom, obviously having to change lanes as track starts to widen out.
Speaking of lanes,
Lane Riggs.
I know I stuttered because I saw lane. I don't know how I spelled it when I said it.
multitasking with your lanes.
Yes.
Nice.
Lane had severe damage. That team went to work, and so why is he out there? Well, if you can bring home an extra couple of points, it'll be worth it in the end, right?
This is also interesting for Eckes because Eckes has been on defense the entire race as the leader. We've watched him stay super disciplined and be able to maintain the lead in all of our longer runs here. We're working lap traffic, and now he's on the other side of it. Now he's going to be trying to work Seabell over, understand where he's going to go. It's always way more fun, Michael, to be on offense than it is on defense. Oh, the fact that you're not leading, and it's more fun to be able to put the leader in a bad spot and try to take advantage because the leader's going to have the toughest time passing these guys that don't want to go long down and trying to stay on the lead lap and being able to be the first one to make the move, to a different lane or an different spot is a tough place to be as a leader. But on the flip side, that's the tough stuff that I feel like drivers like Christopher Bell are really good at. Guys that come from that dirt racing background are used to working that lap traffic and in these scenarios. But I talk about all that, and We have a lot less trucks in the field now. We've wrecked a lot more, so it's maybe not going to happen as quickly.
Well, one thing about Bell is he's been mired in the back in traffic all night long. This is the first time we've really seen him out front feeling what his truck's doing. And he's been able to hold off Christian Eckes. Eckes has been up front all night long. We know the speed.
Well, look at the gap from Chandler Smith. I mean, these two guys, rest of the field, everything's fairly close within a couple of car lengths, but Christian Eckes and Christopher Bell have really increased that gap over the field.
Eckes is staying right with Bell, though.
Right, and those tire tracks. But you mentioned the trucks that are out. There's 7 that had an incident. Corey Heim, we heard from him. Caden Honeycutt, Tyler Reif, Muniz, Green, Hill, and Luke Baldwin are the 7 trucks out of this field. Butcher was involved in a wreck. He's still out there digging. We saw Ricky Stenhouse Jr., he was in one of the shots just coming back out to the track. So still trying to look around this place and get this race finished.
A lot of problems for Grant Enfinger all night long as well. So the track, we got a spinner up in turn 4.
It's going to have red truck leader still flowing up.
10 truck. So that brings out our 9th caution.
9th caution of the day for Corey LaJoy. And it comes with about 35 laps to go at Bristol. Quite a bit of damage to the back of that race truck. Definitely had contact with the outside wall. I would imagine he had some help, knowing this is a half-mile short track, and all the cautions we've seen today have been after a result of contact. Not always off the front bumper of somebody's race car, but contact nevertheless. Showing a replay on Fox Sports 1. No, he did lose it on his own. Unless they just cut the camera to him a little late getting into turn 3. It almost looked like it just went around on him like he overdrove the corner and got loose.
Corey LaJoy made it back into the garage. Look at this, guys. First 5 races, 5.6 cautions have been our average. Tonight, we've had 9.
Is this our first short track?
Wow.
I guess they're our second.
Yes, sir.
Carson Ferguson has made himself his way into the top 20 after showing us all the wrecks that have happened. He's been able to work his way through them all. It's pretty cool.
Definitely our first short track. We had a couple of 1-mile tracks, but
Nothing we define as a short track.
yeah, Rockingham, Darlington, St. Pete, Atlanta, Daytona is what we run in the truck series. But we've got a lot of short tracks still to come this summer. So where are we going next? We're going to have a couple of weeks off. Then we're headed to the great state of Texas. And Texas Motor Speedway. Friday night, May 1st, right here on FS1. Tune in at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Like cowboy outfit.
Looking forward to that. Always a good time in Texas.
Yes, there is.
They have built a city around that racetrack, by the way. Remember going there, Mike? Nothing was there. There's a Buc-ee's across the street, if that tells you anything.
Is that what defines like a metropolitan area?
You've added a bucket.
It makes it.
Well, I'm interested to watch this restart. Where does Christian Eckes line up? Does he go to the inside? Does he line up behind Bell? The restarts have been quite event. We're going to be down within 30 laps or so to the checker, so action will pick up if that's possible.
Beautiful aerial coverage, of course, brought to you by Goodyear. Tried, tested, proven, legendary. Looking forward to seeing the new tires that they brought here for you guys in the Cup Series.
Me both.
Yes, there was a real force test here a few weeks ago. Yes, it was a few weeks ago.
Well, tires are always interesting here, especially recently. I mean, we've seen a lot of fall off in the tires, and how they play into the outcome of the race is always fun to follow. Goes Lane Riggs around the top. Getting his lap back. Soldiering on.
Few takers here for pit road. All guys that were kind of tail end of the lead lap. Briscoe, Suarez, 2:15.
Talked a lot about Suarez at all.
No, he started last, Jamie, and just hadn't been making much progress. Made it all the way up to 15 before coming to pit road here. So we'll see.
Kind of forgot he was in the race, to be completely honest.
It's good looking freeway.com Chevrolet.
He had a problem at practice.
Didn't like the way the steering felt. Maybe thought they had a power steering issue, and they worked on it. He's been real consistent and steady, but hadn't had the speed he needs. Why not throw a set of tires at it and see what happens?
If you got them, you might as well use them.
Nice adjustment for Suarez.
Having trouble with that right front, as you can see. Good thing he wasn't battling for the lead. I want that tire go on. That's what the crew guys say.
A third Spire truck here tonight. We will see that about 5 times this season. There's a 25 Carson Ferguson was announced. The Parker Kligerman will be in the free agent truck, the 25 for Ram and Collick at Texas.
Interesting.
I'm looking forward to that. Parker does a great job on broadcast and behind the wheel.
So if I'm a driver, lining up
You
on
are
this restart, I am, but not tonight. Tomorrow, the next day. But if I'm a driver lining up on this restart, I've spent a lot of time talking about lap traffic and lanes moving around and this and that. I don't think we're going to see much lap traffic the rest of the night, and I don't think we're going to see much lanes moving around much. And I think we're going to see this race be won and lost on this restart coming up, or the restarts following if we have more cautions.
Yes.
But these restarts and these chooses are going to be the most important thing for these drivers on where they finish tonight.
I think if I'm Bell, I'm taking the top. We've seen that work all night long.
Easy call as a leader.
And then what does the 91 of Eckes do? Does he follow him, or does he decide to put it side by side?
It seems like it's been pretty 50-50 for the inside guy to be able to hold on to second place.
There he goes. I like it. I want to see that front row.
I agree. I totally agree. Give yourself the best shot. Seatbelt did something really cool there on that last restart, and I don't know if...
All right, this is going to be interesting. So the field has gotten the 1 to go signal. Christopher Bell, Christian Eckes going to be in the front row again. We're going to have a little less than 30 laps to go when we get back racing. Bell taking the outside of row number 1. He was able to go from the outside of row 2 to the lead in about a lap and a half to 2 laps. Didn't really get clear until the end of the 3rd lap after the restart, but he was able to beat the race leader back to the start-finish line, that being Eckes, a couple of times before that. And now Chandler Smith will be on the outside of row 2. Smith has not led many laps this season, but does have a win at Daytona. Led in points through the first 4 races, and now with problems with drivers ahead of him in points so far today, all of which being involved in some kind of an incident outside of the top 20, a chance maybe to take the points lead from 4th place coming in for Chandler Smith yet again. Consistency is key. Green flag back in the air. Great restart for Christopher Bell. Not so great for Christian Eckes, who spins the tires on the inside of row number 1, loses each of the top 3 positions by the time he exits turn 2 down the back straightaway, and also makes a slight bit of contact with Ben Rhodes, who won stage 2 on pit strategy. He does have slightly fresher tires. It took him quite some time to get through the field, but he is on the outside of 3rd and with a rocket ship as he tries to get above Gio Ruggiero. Barely keeping his front bumper in line with the right rear corner panel of the 17, not letting him slip away, and the 2-time series champion Rhodes is making a run at it and might have a shot at the race win here. He is looking very sporty with about 25 laps to go. Time winding down quickly here at Bristol, as it usually does, and if this stays green to the very end, is he going to have enough time to conquer the top 2 positions? We've seen some close finishes in the Truck Series the last 2 go-arounds, both won by Corey Heim at Darlington and last weekend at Rockingham. Brennan Butterbean Queen getting moved up out of the way for about 12th place, 10th rather, at the hands of Jake Garcia, another Thor Sport truck. Chase Briscoe struggling right now. He's in the outside groove and loose as he gets up against the fence. I think he's got a tire going down potentially. I saw some smoke right before he spun, but that might have just been the tire smoke as he got up into the gray and up out of the groove that has widened out quite some throughout the course of the race today, but not all the way up near the wall where Briscoe was running before contact with the fence in turns 1 and 2. And that drops him from about 12th place all the way down to 15th. 3 spots lost for Briscoe. Short bit of time. He actually qualified in row 2 as fastest in practice earlier today, but has been nowhere to be found for most of this race outside of stage 1. 20 laps to go for Christopher Bell. The lead is 7/10 of a second over Chandler Smith. Ben Rhodes still 1.1 seconds out of the lead in third. Gio Ruggiero 1.7 seconds back in fourth. Oh no.
Continues to boost.
Wonder what that was all about.
He definitely had a problem.
I think he's still got a problem.
7th spot.
Second shot on fire.
Gosh, what are they saying? With Ben Rhodes.
Yeah, Ben Rhodes just came up the radio yelling, hey, keep shutting off, issue for the 99 after they rallied back to the top lot.
So frustrating. We saw this a couple of times last year. I think Corey Heim was one that we saw come and go like that.
That's a huge bummer. I mean, they had to talk to this kid before this race tonight, and in a great position to catch in on some good points. Obviously, not tons here changed for the battle for the lead, but yeah, see, Bell's just checked out. He and Chandler Smith both, but
Butterbean Queen was able to squeeze around Ben Rhodes and into the top 10, and that ran number 12. So good job for Butterbean. Slap around. Second place, Chandler Smith.
Pretty neat. See Bell driving for Halmar Friesen Racing. They have that alliance with Tricon Garage, Michael, and it's just made such a big difference for this organization going to a 2-truck team full time that they can bring in a Christopher Bell to get behind the wheel.
Got the call last week, see if he wanted to come do this. And I was talking earlier, Austin, if somebody calls you and says, you want to run Bristol, you say, yeah. And then you say, who is this? You know, getting a chance to race at this place is something that's fun.
We talked about the Triple Truck Challenge. Of course, Corey Heim won't be able to win this one and take the 500 grand, but there's still 50 grand on the line for the driver who is a Truck Series regular. So Christopher Bell would not be eligible. Next guy would be Chandler Smith, who could take home that 50 grand and maybe that briefcase full of cash we've often seen.
Kind of make the field a good consolation prize after the race and inform you that you walked away with that.
Well, this is the best we've seen Chandler Smith hang on in a run.
see Bell get stuffed up behind the front row truck of Lane Riggs. This is
Helping a teammate.
Come over to get him out of the way, and Chandler was able to take advantage of it and catch up.
Cut that lead.
7 laps to go. I definitely think that was Lane Riggs trying to be a teammate and hold up Christopher Bell, the race leader, until finally getting out of the way of the leader for the second place, and again teammate Chandler Smith to close in. Smith, although is leading the dash for cash, wants to go for that second win and help him in the point standings just a little bit more as well. Lead is about 4 to 5 truck lengths, so while Chandler Smith was able to close over the last lap to lap and a half since Bell was able to get clear of Riggs, he's opened it back up about a truck length or 2 per lap. Ruggiero still 2.7 seconds back in third, and Chastain now up to 4th place at 3.2 seconds out of the lead. 4 laps to go for Christopher Bell. Chandler Smith trying to go for the $50,000 bonus in the Triple Truck Challenge. Corey Heim, who's trying to go for the $500,000 bonus tonight, unfortunately crashed out, battling for the lead on a late restart with Christian Eckes in the final 70 laps. 3 laps to go for Bell, and it is becoming a no contest here in the closing laps. Ben Rhodes still holding on to 11th with the power issues late. He's 7.5 seconds out of the lead after being about a second back in third place at one point. About a dozen laps ago. Chandler Smith closed in a little bit that last lap, but if he's going to have any chance to get to the back bumper of Christopher Bell, he's going to have an insurmountable gap that he's going to have to really make up in the next 2 corners. White flag is already in the air, 1 lap to go. Chandler Smith through turns 1 and 2 is going to get to within about 3 to 4 truck lengths. It's going to be tough to get to the back of the 62, who has not yet caught lap traffic. He was getting closer, but managing the gap well. And Christopher Bell, the Cup Series regular, will steal a win in the Truck Series. Chandler Smith does win the $50,000 bonus in the Triple Truck Challenge. But Bell, winner at Bristol. 2 goes in a row. He won the last race here in the NASCAR Cup Series and now wins the most recent truck race as well. 3rd Cup regular to win a second Cup regular, to win a truck race this season. Corey Heim, a part-time driver in this series with 2 wins as well. So we've only seen truck regulars running the full season. And full-time drivers in the series win 2 of the first 6 races. Tonight it is Bell in his 2nd attempt of the season. Pulled a triple duty effort at Darlington a few weeks back. Wasn't competitive enough to lead any laps in that race, and here tonight, although he didn't lead many, he is going to get the race win. And all the laps that he did lead, it was late. Once he got the lead, he never looked back. 63 laps led today for the driver of the number 62 truck. 250 laps. We finished under our scheduled and regular length. 1 hour, 59 minutes, and 57 seconds total time of the race. That is not included the red flag time we had for a big crash in Stage 3 that took Corey Heim and Caden Honeycutt, the 2 points leaders, out of the race. 9 cautions, 7 lead changes, and 76 laps spent under yellow. Again, that 1 red flag. Margin of victory, 0.3 of a second for Christopher Bell over Chandler Smith. Most laps led today, Christian Eckes was able to lead for 132 laps, finished 5th. Eckes also won Stage 1, while Ben Rhodes won Stage 2 today. So Christopher Bell with the win, Chandler Smith in 2nd, Gio Ruggiero 3rd, Ross Chastain 4th, Christian Eckes finishes 5th, Jake Garcia 6th, Dawson Sutton 7th, Kyle Busch 8th, Carson Hocevar 9th, Brendan Queen finishes in 10th. 11th for Ben Rhodes, Daniel Hemrick 12th, Tyler Ankrum 13th, Chase Briscoe 14th, 15th is Justin Haley. 16th place finish for Stuart Friesen, Andres Perez 17th, Daniel Suarez in 18th, Minnie Tyrell 19th, and 20th Tanner Gray. 21st, Carson Ferguson. 22nd was Lane Riggs, and he was the first truck a lap down, so 21 finished on the lead lap tonight. Ty Majeski with problems late, had a flat tire, pitted under green, finishes 2 laps down in 23rd. Spencer Boyd with a 24th place finish. 25th, Chris Wright. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. had an incident he was involved in, finishes 26th. Grant Enfinger 27th with a battery change at the end of Stage 1 for him. Colt Butcher in 28th, Corey LaJoie 29th, Corey Heim 30th, as mentioned moments ago, crashed in the final stage. Finishing 31st was Caden Honeycutt, Luke Baldwin 32nd, Timmy Hill 33rd, Tyler Wright 34th, Frankie Muniz 35th, and Clayton Green rounds out our 36 truck field. Of the 36 that started, 28 finished with 7 DNFs and 21 on the lead lap. Here's your race winner, Christopher Bell. He had his interview moments ago, but I paused it so you guys wouldn't miss a word.
Research to make this win happen, Christopher.
Oh man, that was just so awesome to be able to win a truck race. Man, it's been since 2017 since I've won one of these things. So it's a lot of fun racing with this group, this HFR group. I got the unfortunate call last year to driver Stewart whenever he got hurt, and we went out to Watkins Glen and almost got it. And they've been working really hard to get to victory lane. And whenever Stewart and Jimmy called me about this opportunity to try and run some races this year, I'm like, heck yeah, let's do it. So just so special for me to be able to race with these guys. And these wins mean a lot to this team and this organization. So can't say thank you enough to Stuart Friesen, Jimmy over there at HFR, Mr. Larson. Thank you for the opportunity. Glad we got his logo in victory lane there. So yeah, I love this racetrack. Love you, fans.
you guys got to see some demo racing there for a little bit, so I'm sure you guys love that.
How rewarding is it for you? You mentioned this organization. They've been through a lot. Stewart has been through a lot. It's a small run team, and for you to do this here at Bristol, very tough racetrack.
Yeah, it's just man, it's such an awesome racetrack. I always tell everybody this is my favorite place to go because it's so fast, but yet it's a half mile in length. You got that short track racing with intermediate speeds. So I love this racetrack and can't wait for Sunday.
Congratulations. Enjoy this one. Christopher Bell here, a winner at Bristol Motor Speedway.
Congrats to Christopher Bell, and again, congrats to Chandler Smith getting the Triple Truck Challenge bonus for this evening. He finishes in second. Late night tonight, we're going to wrap things up here shortly. Be sure to tune in for more live commentary content throughout the rest of the weekend and the rest of the season. Subscribe if you are new as well. Hit the like button on the stream. Our like goal of 50 was reached earlier in the stream. I do believe we did get to 63 likes and counting right now at the very end. So thank you so much for hitting that like button. Subscribe for more NASCAR content again as we're on the road to 8,000 subs as mentioned moments ago. We'll be live for tomorrow's Cup Series practice and qualifying stream for the Food City 500 at Bristol at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. That will be our next live stream, and I'll be back in my usual studio for that. We will also be live on Saturday night, tomorrow night, doubleheader. O'Reilly Series racing about an hour after the finish of practice and qualifying for the Cup side, around 7:30 or so Eastern time. And we will also be live for Cup racing, of course, on Sunday, our main event of the weekend, the Food City 500 at Bristol. 500 laps around this half-mile fast short track. And that will be at 2:30 p.m. Eastern for that one. So again, 2:30 p.m. Eastern, we will be live for a Cup race at Bristol. Excited for that. Congrats again to Christopher Bell for winning the Truck Series race here tonight, the Tennessee Army National Guard 250. See you guys tomorrow for our doubleheader. Have a good rest of your Friday night. Stay safe, everybody.